clutch right there. So Mickelson stays 2 back.
What a par out of the bunker.
To 13.
This is Jason Day lining up for what would add to the birdie list at 13.
It's pretty straight.
And on to it. It's a +2, and Jason Day is just 3 back. He birdied the 10th, birdied the 7th, so he's played the last 7 holes and 3 under par. That's what you can do in that section of Merion. Over at 6.
And Donald knocks that in for his par. Billy Horschel also made his par.
So with 1 player under par, we remind you that in a couple of weeks, NBC and the NBC Sports Network invite you to celebrate a century of brutal climbs, thrilling sprints, and unparalleled triumph. The 100th Tour de France. Coverage begins in a couple of weeks on the NBC Sports Network. Take a break and a breath from the action here. Check out some leaderboards. 1 player under par, and he's the Masters champion, Charles Schwartzel from 2011. Steve Stricker, John Senden, Luke Donald 1 back at even. Mickelson, who began the day tied for the lead with Billy Horschel at 1 under, had a nice par save there to stay 2 back. He's tied with Poulter, Rose, and Edward Lohr. And there's Horschel also at the +1 number. +2s, Mahan, Day, and Colsaerts. In the amateur, Michael Kim leading the way. 10 amateurs making the cut. And Tiger Woods 6 shots behind, even though Tiger's played +2 golf, certainly not out of it. And there's Chen Sung Pan, another one of the amateurs having a good week. But everybody chasing Schwartzel, as everybody, at least the leaders, have been hovering right around even 1 under. And here is Schwartzel here at the 8th. 28-year-old South African making his 7th U.S. Open start. And there's a look at his start today. And bogeyed the 2nd hole to quickly drop to +2, but has played the last 5 holes in 3 under to seize the lead. Won that green jacket in 2011. 2-shot win over Adam Scott and Jason Day after that brilliant final round 66. That victory coming 50 years after Gary Player became the first international winner of the green jacket. And also birdied the final 4 holes. It was some performance. So we know that Schwartzel can handle the heat, but can he handle Merion and this U.S. Open course on this weekend?
Should move a little left off that mid mound.
So an easy 2-putt for Schwartzel, and he'll remain at 1 under. Best rounds going. Jason Day, Edward Lohr, Brandt Snedeker has a 2 under round going today, along with Schwartzel, the leader. Back to 7.
Steve Stricker with a chance to join that group at 1 under. Left to right breaking putt here. He just hit a little too firmly, it looks like. Yeah, just kind of knocked it right through the break. Over to 12.
And this is a par attempt for Edward Lohr. Drove it in the rough. Mentions not a PGA Tour member this year. Lost his card after having it last year, but did win a Web.com Tour event earlier this year in Louisiana. Senden at 7.
Yeah, and that ties him for the lead. Gets it back after the bogey at 6. Wonderful iron shot to within 4 or 5 feet of the hole, and knocks that right in. So back to 1 under par for John Senden. Very calm player. Don't see a lot of emotional highs or lows from him. As we go to the 8th.
100 Mahan for birdie.
Moves left all the way.
So all pars and the lone bogey for Mahan at the difficult 5th. all in all, solid as he remains 3 back. We go to 10.
And Tiger Woods, he needs to make some birdies, choosing to not go for the green with his tee shot. This just under 100 yards, and wow, he was obviously trying to spin that and pull it way back, but that is obviously a little bit too much club. Let's take another look at that. Let's take a look at the divot here. Comes down pretty steep on that, and wow, that's not a divot, that is sod. To 13.
And Edward Lohr on the tee. Does have a couple of wins on the Asian Tour, as we mentioned earlier. He's played the Asian Tour for years. There's the whole location.
Like I said, easiest hole in the course. If you want to make it, you got to land left of the hole because the fall line is on that side. So you'd think somebody would make one here over the years. That's not bad, but not quite enough left and too high. But those other 2 shots are good ones.
Lohr played for the U.S. in the '99 Walker Cup. Also played his collegiate golf at Oklahoma State. And over to Mickelson.
And in the left rough off the tee, Raj, have you had a chance to look at the lie?
I have. 147 left of the hole. All the grass here dead down grand. He can get the club on the back of the ball, but might have to worry about this one jumping a little bit. Just had a tee shot from the nearby 4th tee, no more than about 30 yards from him, if that. So he backs off. A little bit right of the hole.
And very fortunately, it landed very softly. One big hop, and it would have been in that back bunker. And he's like, whoa, surprised it carried as far as it did, and then very pleased that it landed as softly as it did. All right, Luke Donald next.
Yeah, off a bit of a downhill slope. Pretty good angle at the hole, 130. And a little downwind as well, so I'm sure no more than a pitching wedge. That was chunked. Chunked and left.
That could be one of the worst wedge shots I think I've ever seen him hit.
I agree.
Was very poor. Let's take another look at this. And from behind, almost looks like he just gets the club stuck in the ground before he ever gets to the ball. Just releases too soon, and oof. He knew it right away. All right, Horschel also out of the left rough.
124, he too got lucky with the big down grand lie. Can get the club on the ball.
Oh, that's pretty well controlled out of the long stuff. Makeable putt left from there. Up at 10.
And Tiger Woods, after that birdie at 1, he's 3 over. Since then, this down the hill for birdie should turn to his left, and it's fairly quick. And that's never on line. Let's go back to 9.
Schwartzel tied for the lead with Sennett at 1 under. Looking down the hill some 40 feet. Tee to green.
.231 yards, no birdies all day.
Nice little kick to the right for Schwartzel. Up ahead to 12. This just earlier, second for the amateur Michael Kim.
South Korea, moved to the States when he was 7 years old.
really solid player. The season consisted of 4 wins, 10 top 10s. He never finished worse than 11th, and he's in the U.S. Open holding his own. Luke Donald won back, holding his own at Merion as well. Back here at Merion, where they have awarded 4 U.S. Opens. Previously, getting ready to hand out that beautiful 18-inch high Sterling Trophy again tomorrow. And Luke Donald hoping to get his hands around it at the 7th.
A lengthy putt for a 3. I'm sure one he'd be very happy to get close, which he certainly did with no problem. Tap in par there for Luke. We'll keep him at +1. We go back to the 8th.
And second at the short par 4, just 351. Good chance for Sendon.
And bunker blocks almost all of the green. As you can see, you cannot run the ball in here if you miss the fairway. And just so-so.
Back to 7.
And the lengthy birdie putt for Mickelson off the back fringe. Huge swinger to the right here. Steep slope along the edge of the green. And I don't know if he just didn't factor that in, Johnny, or just didn't have room to play it that far left.
He's probably playing for par, just sort of like a U.S. Open par.
Now back at 10, Tiger for par from about 3.5 feet.
Not the same putter, is he?
No, boy, he laid it up off the tee trying to be strategic and give himself a short wedge to try to get another birdie, and he ends up 3-putting for a bogey. Maybe he thinks about he should have gone for it off the tee now. But that's what Merion can do. It can weigh on your mind.
He's got 18 putts, Tiger, through 10 holes. That is not going to do it. He's closing in on giving himself no chance to win the U.S. Open if he doesn't watch out.
Horschel at 7 for a birdie. Don't see him leave many putts short. So he's going to remain at +1. And not happy about it as we go to 8.
And Steve Stricker's second, 127. He has made 7 straight pars.
Just picked it off there, almost no divot. Very unusual. And good shot. One of the better shots we've seen, and that's for Stricker. That is right in his wheelhouse.
Back to 7.
Mickelson for par. Okay. Gets away with a tee shot in the rough. Still yet to make a birdie in this 3rd round, but still just 2 shots back. We go ahead to 9.
And Schwartzel looking over a birdie putt. Tied for the lead with John Sendon. Good crowd on the hill there watching the action. And one of 2 holes without a single birdie today. 18th the other one. The 530-yard par 4 today, which has the team ground in action across the road. So those 2 holes giving these guys everything and more. There's a nice look high above the 9th.
Yeah, the water's not totally in play with the front hole location. If you come off of it just a little or miss club or a gust of wind, it can get you. If you hit it right, of course, you can go in the creek. So it's a long, tough par 3 to 31. And you can see the dark patch of grass there. I don't know if he has to can't see the hole, but got to deal with that being a little slow.
Schwartzel, a proven winner. He's got 8 European Tour wins. The 1 PGA Tour win at Masters. But he won the Alfred Dunhill Championship in December of 2012 for his latest of those 8 wins. From Johannesburg, South Africa, and another one of those many players who have looked up to Ernie Els, Gary Player, and made their way here to the highest level of championship golf.
Well, let's see if we can get this to the hole. It was said that when there's grain on these greens into you, it is slow.
Over at the 12th, Kim for his birdie to get to +2 with and 3.
What a story this will be. Just amazing. He's putting himself in position to have an outside shot.
We got another Jim Simons story in the making here. Who knows? In the meantime, back over to Sendon. Mark?
Well, he's got about 35 feet here, Johnny. This whole location right on the 1 yard line of this green. So pretty much every putt is coming from the back part of the green. It's got a little left-hand break down at the hole, and it tends to get a little quick as it runs away. His putting, for all the stats that we have talked about, really has looked very solid today thus far.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with the nice cadence of his stroke. Takes it back inside, just releases the toe, and it was a good putt, just misread it a little.
And that's the runaway I was talking about. That thing's going to creep 4 feet by, and he's got some work left.
It hit, I guess, a coin or something.
It hit a mark. It hit a marker.
Hit something, yeah.
Over to 10.
Ian Poulter has just 77 yards. He and his caddy, Terry Mundy, looking at this. It's only 77 yards, but you just can't miss this green, especially to the left to that whole location. We're only talking 77 yards, but that's what intimidation does to you out here at Merion. Well played there. Safe shot through it over the flag and drew it back to about 6-7 feet.
Can Steve Stricker finally break the par drought tie for the lead?
He has seen 2 putts on this same line. Good chance here.
Not quite enough.
Wow, you hate to come up short when you know the line.
8 straight pars for Stricker. This is a U.S. Open line if there ever was one. Now over to 13, Michael Kim looking for another birdie on a very birdieable hole. And he's lined up for another one. There's been 16 already today.
Just got a dead straight in putt. He'll knock that one in.
Back over to 8 and send in for par. Mark?
Well, there isn't a whole lot to this one, but you just don't want to be leaving yourself too many of these in a U.S. Open, Johnny.
You're
even
right.
if you're making them.
Especially a guy like Sendon, who has not exactly had huge confidence in the putter.
That's really the first putt we've seen him throw away a stroke, though.
Yeah, he has been solid today, no doubt, but that's going to be his second drop shot in the last 3 holes. Tiger at 11.
Second shot on the way.
I think he's due for a good one.
Well, controlled the distance beautifully, so not a difficult putt from there. Very flat portion of the green. In fact, this 11th green, one of the flatter ones on the entire golf course. Back to Sendon at 8.
For bogey. So he's fallen from 1 under to even. So he bops back and forth, even, 1 under. And Charles Schwartzel has emerged at the moment as the lone player under par. U.S. Open continues from Merion. But 1930 stands out. Bobby Jones in the U.S. Amateur in a 120-day stretch. Captured the British Amateur at St. Andrews, the British Open at Royal Liverpool, the U.S. Open at Interlaken, and in the Amateur here in September of 1930, completed the Grand Slam. And the feat at Merion marked by the plaque behind the 11th hole. He retired at the age of 28 that year, and there were the headlines in the local paper, the Public Ledger, the very next day. Not only did Jones crush Homans, Gene Homans, 8 and 7. Babe Ruth also had a pretty good day that day, slamming a couple of homers as the Philadelphia A's lost to the New York Yankees. So a couple of the biggest American icons in the history of sport making history back in September of 1930. And we're privileged to have Bobby Jones' putter that he used in that Grand Slam achievement back in 1930. This is Calamity Jane 2. There were a number of versions that Bobby used. I think he had 6 replicas made, but that's the reason we have the white gloves on here, because we're handling this with care, like we would handle Ben Hogan's 1-iron in the famous 1-iron shot that he made.
I actually have 2 of these, and I putted with one when I was about 12 years old, but this one's a little different because it says Robert T. Jones there, and it's an amazing putter. I guess it's worth a lot of money, and Bobby Jones could very well have been the greatest golfer that ever played. You know, retiring when he did, winning that many majors, who knows what he would have done. So I mean, you got to throw him in the mix when you think of the world's greatest players with Tiger and you know, Hogan and everybody else, and Nicklaus.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool to hold on to this old
Absolutely.
Calamity Jane
I'll
2.
rub that Billy.
Over at the par 3 ninth. By the way, you can see this putter in the museum, the USGA Museum in Far Hills, New Jersey. It is definitely worth a stop and a look. That one is headed right for Steve Stricker and in the hazard. Up to 13 to see if Michael Kim can make another one, get to +1 within 2. Yes. And Kim continues to inch his way up the leaderboard. That is 3 birdies in the last 4 holes, and this was earlier at the 10th.
Ian Poulter now to pull within 1. This should go a little to the left, and oh my gosh, he just pulled that right off the get-go. Schwartzel is waiting on the 10th tee. Looks like he's waiting to give it a go, but Poulter still has to putt out for his par. Let's go to 8.
Mickelson for birdie, Roger.
And this is going to move to his left off the slope coming into the front of the green out of a bunker.
Just not quite enough steam on that one. Mickelson will remain at +1.
Seen a lot of putts missed. Stricker just a minute ago, same kind of putt, short and hard. That one short would have been in.
Let's go back to the tee at the 10th, Jake.
Yeah, Schwartzel was waiting for the green to clear, and it looks like he has taken an iron there, Noda.
Yeah, it was kind of unusual waiting for the green to clear, but then seems to want to lay up here.
I mean, does he have like a 1-iron type of strong iron? It could be like a driving iron that he used just for this championship. I don't know that. He wasn't quote unquote in the mix early, and all of a sudden now he's our leader.
Well, a lot of the manufacturers are making these long iron driving irons now with 17, 16, 18 degrees loft that actually come out like a 3-wood or a hybrid.
This is headed down the left side. It's trying to work its way back. And that is a big shot right there.
And that is perfectly positioned there. He could putt it from there. Let's take a look at this with our pro tracer. Hit this dead straight. Look at that red line.
Wow, that is straight.
And he hit that thing
That might be
solid.
the straightest shot of the year.
It's back to 8.
And Luke Donald pacing around this for birdie, and this would get him back to 1 under.
A little different line than Phil's, but still has to go to his left. This is a pretty good look right here.
Very soft-handed grip. He's planning for it to go left.
Luke Donald's back in there, tied for the lead with Schwartzel.
Beautiful stroke. Just quiet, smooth, effortless.
The chance of Luke ring through the area of the 8th. We'll head over to the par 3 ninth. We'll head up to 11.
Yeah, and it was here at the green, Danny, where Bobby Jones used that Calamity Jane putter to win that 1930 U.S. Amateur to clinch the Grand Slam. And Tiger is not making putts, Johnny. That is 22 putts, or excuse me, 21 putts through 11 holes now today.
The magic is just not with him right now.
No, it really is not, especially on the greens.
And the magic suddenly has left Steve Stricker in the hazard, so now his third shot.
Really needs to get this up and in.
Drew a pretty good lie, Johnny, after the drop.
Not bad. I'd say it's average.
So a chance for bogey. But Stricker will drop to at least +1 in the 113th U.S. Open Championship.
Canada's Milos Raonic looks to overthrow the tennis establishment. Wimbledon begins Monday, June 24th on TSN, home of all the tennis majors.
Even 2 at 1 under, and here is Sendon at 9 out of the thick rough, Mark.
He got very fortunate, Dan. Hit the tee shot fat, and it barely cleared the same hazard Steve Stricker found. This is a thick lie now.
One of those evens you see on the board there by Stricker is going to come off the board. So
this is a little chunky lie, boy. Okay. Sort of chunk and run, but more chunk than run.
And Sendon's even could come off the board as well. So we could have a couple at -1 and the rest at +1. Good look at the Wicker at 13 and Ernie Els.
This is Merion's gift to the players.
To Els.
Boy, that is really a bad shot, and it's going to be quick from there. But it is sitting up. The grass is laying left to right, not bad.
Back over to the 9th for Justin Rose. We've got 3 Englishmen right now currently in the top 8 of this U.S. Open. Luke Donald tied for the lead. Then you've got both Ian Poulter and Justin Rose at +1.
This is going to be a particularly tough one, Johnny, to judge the pace on for Justin Rose.
It's a little slow. You see that little dark grass between him and the hole? What do you think it's going to do? It breaks left, right?
It breaks left overall. Yes, there's a little bit of a right-hand twist sort of in the middle of the putt, but overall it's to the left.
In case you're wondering, it's been 43 years since Tony Jacklin won that 1970 U.S. Open. Justin Rose comes up just a bit short. Tap in, it'll be to remain at +1.
Nice par. Really nice par in this 231-yard par 3 with water. Rose is looking pretty darn good. You know, he's the kind of player that looks like he should win a U.S. Open. I mean, he's just such a good player. Doesn't hit many bad shots. Putting's not great, but it's good enough with his ball striking to do it. If he can handle the nerves and the stomach of it all. To win a U.S. Open, you got to go through a lot of nerves, Mark.
I think playing Merion, Johnny, is all about managing your frustration. That just is a word that keeps popping into my head because as we talk about, these holes seem to look fairly easy. Even the stretch 7 through 13 looks fairly easy, but they're not easy holes.
Important putt here. Did he hit it? Got it there, but
So all of a sudden, Sendon is backing up.
yeah.
He did have that birdie, but sandwiched around at 3 bogeys. Birdie the 7th to get it back to red figures, but boom, boom, and he's at +1 again. Just how he began the day. And Stricker has a bogey attempt, so that even's going to come off.
It seems, Johnny, like any hole out here, maybe other than, say, 13, can just sort of suck the energy out of you if you make the slightest mistake.
That's true. I mean, there are birdie holes, but you have to play them correctly. It's a precision golf course. I don't believe the players of today are precision players on a hole. They're more power, take advantage of the par fives. They're good players, obviously, great players, but somehow when they get on a precise course with long rough, it's like, what is this?
Goes well by, so Stricker's going to lose at least 2 at the 9th.
That's too bad.
Now over at 10, Charles Schwartzel with his little bump and run, Noda.
After a great drive, he's got 15 yards to the front edge. Another 10 gets him to the hole, and he's got to hit something with a low trajectory to get it to run up and over that ridge.
This is what I love about classically designed golf courses here. American golf, you got to play in the air. Classic design golf like this, you got to play closer to the ground. It looks to me like Schwartzel's going to take this and drag it right along the ground, try to get it to check and run up that hill. That's exactly what he did. That's a touch of class right there. Steve Stricker did make his double bogey. Back at 9 to 14.
Where Edward Lohr has had all sorts of problems at this par 4, beginning the really tough finish, hit it in the rough. And now playing his 4th up the hill.
That was a cool little shot there, I'll tell you.
That was his 5th shot, so he has that for double.
That was a beautiful little wedge shot there, a little baby draw.
Back to 11.
Ian Poulter positioned nicely here at the short par 4. That sounded heavy, Johnny. That did not have a good sound to it.
I'll say, that thing's
Oh, man, how about that? So heavy it lands on the front of the green and releases about 20 feet or more as we go to 9.
Co-leader Luke Donald, Roger.
5-iron here, downwind, maybe a little left to right as well. Well, this is on a great line if it's the right distance.
Just clears to the green, and it's a good one.
dangerous shot, but it's a good one. Very good.
Up at 13, we saw Ernie hit well left, so pitch to this point for par to remain +4.
I mean, everybody's made that putt. We've seen that putt made every single time today. Look right in the hole. Every single one.
Back over to 9 for Mickelson.
And this is 6-iron here. This just looks like such a hard shot to get close to the hole, Johnny.
Yes, it is. And if you make a little hiccup, you could go in the water. Solid?
Solid enough.
Boy, it was right at the flagstick.
Not a single birdie at the 9th today. Let's go to 10.
And Hunter Mahan now for birdie, John. Take a look at that outfit. He's got Carolina blue hat,
Johnny.
Oklahoma State Cowboy shirt, and a birdie 3 just for you, Johnny Miller.
Yeah, I like it.
That gets him back to over than just 2 back. Let's go back to 9.
For Horschel at +1. Billy making his home in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. Former All-American at Florida. He really had his PGA Tour stardom slowed by a wrist injury that kind of derailed him, and then when he got healthy, boy, did he come back and prove to this tour that he belongs with the best.
Yeah, was debating clubs there. Started out with 5, dropped to 6, then went back to 5 and made kind of an indifferent swing at it. Not committed.
So he's in the bunker to the right. Donald and Mickelson hit the green in regulation. So the final group getting ready to make the turn. Let's go back to 10.
Whereas Charles Schwartzel now has this putt for birdie. Nota, that was a tricky little shot that he hit. Little bump and run up there.
Yeah, very classy shot. Just wanted it to check just a shade more. I think he thought he could get it a little bit closer. And putts from this section, Peter, I'm sure you've noticed, have been causing players fits. I think they're a little bit faster than what they're reading, which is causing them to overread the break.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of misreads from here. This was where Tiger had trouble. He knocked it by and he missed the next one. And then Poulter missed one also and then barely got that par putt in. So this is all about getting the proper read. And he does it. So Charles Schwartzel picks up a birdie at 10 and goes into a one-shot lead.
So Schwartzel to 2 under, 1 better than Luke Donald. Only 2 players under par on the U.S. Open Championship. And while we have a moment, let's check in with Bob Costas for an update.
Welcome to the U.S. Bank NBC Sports Report. Here's your host, Bob Costas.
Okay, and we'll get you right back to the action on the course in just a moment. But first, a few other items, and we'll start with baseball. The Chicago Cubs, as you may know, haven't won the World Series since 1908, or about 4 years before the East Course opened here at Merion. It appears the now 105-year drought is destined to continue, but today the Cubs were at Citi Field to take on the Mets. Picking up top of the 4th, no score. Cubs pitcher Scott Feldman will single to center, and 2 runs come home. That makes it 2-0 Cubbies. They go on to win, at least today, 5-2. In fact, 3 wins in a row for the Cubs. Feldman allowed just 2 hits over 7, retiring the last 12 batters he faced. To hockey, Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final is tonight. Bruins and Blackhawks in Chicago. Game 1 on Wednesday night went pretty much all night, finally decided in triple overtime.
More banging in the boards, and it's squibbed on back to Roosevelt. Roosevelt a shot, score! A deflection in front, and it's over.
Well, you're not going to win every game. And what you got to do is prepare yourself for the next one. And our guys are conscientious of that. And we've been through enough, as I said many times, to be able to bounce back. So, last game is last game. I've turned a page on that. And
I think maybe that happened for both teams, where you kind of have to maybe get a little bit of a feel for what they do. And they're a good team. They're here for a reason. They've been playing a lot of great hockey, and they played well last game. So every game's going to be tough. We're going to have to battle for everything. We're definitely not going to get anything for free.
So Game 2 is tonight in Chicago. NHL Live at 7 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network. The game to follow at 8, also on NBCSN. And an injury update. Boston's Nathan Horton, who was hurt on Wednesday night and missed most of the overtime, will play tonight, back on the Bruins' top line with David Krejci and Milan Lucic. Also, the New York Rangers, who fired John Tortorella a few weeks back, have reached an agreement with Alain Vigneault to become their new head coach. Vigneault himself was fired last month by Vancouver after 7 seasons. That'll do it for now. Back to the course we go. More of the 113th U.S. Open from here at Merion.
This has been the U.S. Bank NBC Sports Report. U.S. Bank, all of us serving you.
Luke Donald, a Chicago Blackhawks fan, Northwestern University, wife from the Chicago area. This for birdie.
Wow, is that a good looking stroke?
That would have tied Schwartzel at 2 under. But as we go to 12, after Tiger drove it in the rough at this 403-yard par 4, this for par.
Moves right all the way, Tiger. So you're going to get some magic.
He needs it. He's 8 back.
Not going to get a lot of magic leaving him short.
Another bogey for Tiger. That is his 5th bogey in the first 12 holes.
And over at the 11th, Henrik Stenson with a chance to get to +2. And what a nice comeback. He was +5 earlier today. So 3 under par over the last 6 holes as we go to 9.
Nicholson looking to get back to even. That will come up short.
We've seen a lot of them short and hard, haven't we, in the last 45 minutes. Could be just a little nerves, not releasing the putter, just a little tension, but not bad.
How do you think the course has been playing? You've seen the Final groups here halfway through, Johnny. Do you think it's going to be on about that 75 average, or is it?
Well, I mean, it's just more the leaders. I thought about an hour ago, I thought the lead would through 13 would probably be 3, maybe 4 under, and Schwartzel has a good chance. Here's Stricker, 10. Of course.
Yeah, with a 3 wood, giving it a go. And oh my gosh, what a great kick. So that gives him a great opportunity for eagle there. Let's take a look at this 10th hole with our pinpoint animation. You can see the tee has been moved down today 23 yards, playing at 280 yards. And there's one option over there to the right. Lay it up. Give yourself about a 40 or 50 yard wedge, or you can go for the green in 1. That whole location there is on the front left today. Let's go back to 9.
And this, the par attempt for Horschel. Remember, he was in that bunker and trying to save it, and he's going to lose another one.
It's just not happening for him right now, is it?
He's +3 as he completes his first 9.
He's not thrilled. He is a fireball. Things aren't going well. How about it?
Yeah, that patience is going to be tested at 14. Kim for birdie. Can he make another one? He's made 3 in the last 4 holes.
We're short in the heart.
He'll stay at +1, 3 back. Michael Kim, young amateur. Just 19 years old, contending at the U.S. Open. Schwartzel in the lead at 2 under. Memories of the moments at Merion. Famous 1-iron shot from Ben Hogan in 1950. And then the Grand Slam achieved by Bobby Jones. Merion has such significance for him. Not only did he win the Slam here for one of his 2 U.S. amateur titles, he also played in his very first amateur here as a 14-year-old in 1916. And here is the hole again where he clinched that Grand Slam in 1930. Schwartzel a little bit short, Gary.
And that's going to leave a very awkward little pitch across the corner of that bunker. Johnny, we're seeing players hit the ball a little heavy here at the 11th. Remember, it's the lowest point of the golf course. And earlier in the week, this part of the fairway was actually flooded a little bit. Cobb's Creek came up over its banks. So we're seeing some pretty poor wedge play, to be honest with you there.
Yeah, no reason to hit it an inch fat.
And over here, Justin Rose played a beautiful tee shot to the edge of the green. This for eagle. And he, just loses speed. He thought that was in. Justin Rose makes birdie at 10.
He looks pretty happy.
Yeah, gets him back to even par, 2 back. Boy, he's got a great demeanor out here. Wonderful guy, great attitude, and obviously a great swinger of the golf club. So Justin Rose pulls within 2.
It's nice to see a guy smile, huh, Peter?
Yes.
You were good at that.
Well, it's a game. We don't work golf, we play golf. Now Steve Stricker for his eagle mark.
Had a good look, Peter, at Justin's putt, and he could get back those 2 shots he just gave away at 9. A little bit slow as Justin found up going up that ridge in the middle of the putt.
So Stricker will tap that in for his birdie. Now Phil Mickelson back on the tee, not going for it. Roger laying it up.
That had to take a little self-restraint, didn't it?
Yeah,
I think he'd lick his chops at this one.
Well, he said earlier in the week that he was going to play very conservative and play smart. Stricker did tap in for his birdie, as we knew he would, from about 5 inches. He's good at those. John, you're good from 5 inches there on those putts.
Occasionally.
Occasionally. So now, John Senden now for his birdie. And this is the putt. This whole location mark has been giving the players fits. Nobody has read this right.
Almost looks like it's got two breaks to me, Peter. Like maybe it goes a little bit right at first and then back to the left.
From here, it's slow. Yeah. Driving everybody crazy. 211.
Schwartzel facing a very awkward little third shot here, Noda.
Gary, he's got no choice but to elevate this ball and get it high and land it soft. And sometimes when you have no choices, you hit your best shots.
Well, it is amazing how many times it produce a good shot when you have complete focus. One option. Big stance, going to make the big swing, try to hit the high flop. Did it beautifully. Back to 10.
Billy Horschel going for it with a 3-wood.
A little agitated after the last hole. Fired his ball into the water. After holding out. Aggressive play, boy. Very good.
Good play. That's exactly where Stricker just putted from, Roger. It's a good look at Eagle. It's a tough putt, but it's almost a certain birdie. Let's take another look with the Pro Tracer. Boy, and he likes that. Hits that high draw. And he's look at him walking after that thing. Boy, this guy's got a great action, doesn't he? Look at the rotation, lower body, full release with his upper body. And I think the most important thing you need out here, John, is balance. You can't be over swinging.
Yeah, they all seem to be having a pretty good time.
Yeah, that's a game. Let's go to 12.
In the second for Henrik Stenson, +2, 4 back. Looking for a third straight birdie, so all of a sudden Henrik Stenson is lighting it up. He'll have that for his 5th birdie. Had a horrendous start, making 4 bogeys in the first 5 holes. In the meantime, Charles Schwartzel, the Masters champion from 2011, wide open at impact. That beautiful flop shot at 11.
To go here at the 11th. Nicholas Colsarts had this birdie putt from some 50 feet. Played a very poor wedge shot, Johnny, from the left side of the fairway, but guess what?
Bingo.
Yeah, so he's had an eagle, a double bogey, 2 birdies, and 2 bogeys this round today. So we go back to 10.
Phil Mickelson now going to try to throw this past the hole and pull it back. And he does just that. Pushed it a little bit, but still has got about 6 feet left for his birdie. 211.
And the short putt for Schwartzel for a good up and down par. Nicely done. He'll remain at -2 and in the lead. Over to the 17th.
Where Jason Day is having himself a solid second 9. 2 under on the back. This was a 2-iron at this 254-yard 17th. Down, across the quarry. What a shot by Day.
Yeah, that was sweet. Just took a 2-iron out and swung as hard as he could.
Chance to go 3 under on this back and get it to +1 within 3 to 10.
Luke Donald with his second, Roger.
73 yards. Even a little better angle than Phil had. This hit very high. And gets them to land very soft. Doesn't put a lot of spin on those wedges, does he?
That thing came down soft like a beanbag. Boom.
Well, Luke Donald has knocked down the door a little bit in other majors, but not the U.S. Open. Not a single top 10 in 9 previous starts in this championship. Best finish tied for 12th back at Wingfoot in 2006. And so in his 40th major start at the age of 35, Luke Donald has put himself in position again, but for the first time in a U.S. Open.
Yep.
Back to 11.
See it.
John Senden positioned nicely off the tee.
Finish it right on number 11.
All 3 players in the fairway here, Gary. 140 yards for sending back to the hole location. Not a breath of wind down here in the corner right now.
Even though a short shot, it is a very precise one with the hole location in the back left portion of the green. Very narrow area.
This one is not particularly good. Scooped and hit a little fat.
Boy, we're seeing some horrendous wedge shots here, Johnny. I wish I had a reason.
There's no reason for it. Except for it might be something to do with the U.S. Open.
That very well could be as we go back to 10.
Billy Horschel now putting for his eagle. We just saw this a few moments ago with Steve Stricker, but Horschel failed to get the right speed, left it short. He's disgusted with that. To 12.
Ian Poulter. Really good look at birdie to get to even.
That was not the smoothest stroke for him. He's a great putter, but
back to 11.
All right, Stricker positioned really nicely, right side of the fairway.
I don't expect to see a bad wedge shot here, Gary. He comes in very shallow. 134 to the hole.
Yeah, picked it right off the ground. Yeah, that's a good smart shot. And a very makeable putt from there. Just a little bit of right to left break. Back to 10.
As Horschel for the birdie.
Tell you what, the teapot is starting to boil, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's obviously very important to Billy to play well today with the lead. He's having his best year. He's already won in New Orleans earlier this year at the Zurich Classic, and he's contended at Houston and a couple other events. So he's really coming into his own. He's probably putting a little too much pressure on himself, and he'll learn from today, and probably you'll probably see him come back tomorrow with a better focus and a better score. Now Phil Mickelson.
He's got a bunch of holes to go, though.
First one of the day.
First one of the day. May jumpstart that round right here.
Well, that conservative layup off the tee paid off.
Wait a minute. Phil, conservative.
Yeah, well, he promised Butch Harmon he was going to be conservative this week.
All right, Stenson looking for another one at the 12th. And that's 3 in a row for Stenson. He is at +1 and over at the 10th.
Luke Donald now to tie for the lead. So Luke Donald gets him to 2 under.
Yeah, and that
ties Charles Schwartzel at the top, John.
That's tough for Horschel because he hit by far the best shot, you know, and he's walking away with a par, and the other two guys make birdie. So he was already a little bit upset prior to this hole.
Now, up ahead at 15, you saw Michael Kim get it to even par, and this is how. The dog leg right uphill par 4, and look at this perfect read there for Michael Kim. And the amateur pulls to even par and just 2 back.
Always fun to have the young amateurs in the mix, isn't it, Jake? Remember, Bo Hostler last year at Olympic Club was right there into the weekend.
He's a real deal. It wouldn't be surprised me to see him right there at the end tomorrow. I'm telling you that. He is really a solid player. He hardly ever has a bad tournament.
Here's Stenson on the tee. This could turn out to be 4 in a row, and I don't want to say easily, but with the way 13 has been playing, we've had 16, 17 birdies at last count. No, making 21 birdies already at 13. Stenson's going to wait a bit, and we shift over to 11.
This was just a moment ago, Dan. Justin Rose, 129 yards. He says, get lucky. Well, I don't think you need a whole lot of luck there. That was a well-played shot. As we go back to 13.
Playing to a 2.7 average Stenson. About a third of the field has birdied it. Stenson's given himself a pretty long look. And over at 17 on a hole which has not yielded many birdies all week long, Jason Day for his third of the back nine, just the second birdie at the monster par 3 all day. And now he's got the 18th coming up to see if he can keep this incredible back nine alive. I don't think anybody's played better than 2 under on the back nine all week, and Day is 3 under. Indeed, just been told it is the best so far. Over to 13 for Poulter with the sand wedge.
Somebody's going to pull one of these wedges by accident and have a good shot at going in.
Again, all these birdies, but still looking for the first U.S. Open ace at 13 at Merion.
Slightly uphill anyway.
Hunter Mahan in trouble. Only one over, but
Fully committed to that 12 up there on the TV tower. Okay, that's your line. I mean, no matter how far you hit it, 130 or 150 on that line, it's fine. You know, just be fully committed to that line. Okay, that's the shot. The line's fine. The ball's going to come out great. Okay, come on, bub.
all right, Noda, you're right there. What kind of shot is this?
Not an overly tough shot. The most difficult part about it is that the ball is substantially above his feet. But if he chokes up enough and just holds that face through impact, it is down grain, so he won't get much resistance or shut when the club does work out through the grass.
All in all, he was very lucky, wasn't he? Could have been even worse lying.
So Mahan aboard at the 12th. And we'll keep it right here for Schwartzel. 2 under, tied with Donald for the lead.
And he's got 137 left. Wind is picking up just ever so slightly in and off the player's left. This is a pitching wedge. Started left. It's trying to work its way back, but I don't think so.
Man, there's just such a run of birdie holes. 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, I don't remember 4 holes in the U.S. Open that give you better chances at birdies.
And watch Schwartzel's downward blow on this shot.
Yeah, he just, when he made his lead, it wasn't quite deep enough, and then he turned that toe down and made him pull it left.
You're right, John. I don't think we've seen a mix of holes in the U.S. Open that is just so hard a stretch and then so easy in the stretch you talked about.
If you play them right, you got to play them right, like everybody said. But 10, 11, 12, 13 are just really birdie holes.
This was just earlier at the 11th. Stricker playing way too much break.
But that's what we knew we were going to get, Gary, at Merion, right?
Now, absolutely. And now live, Justin Rose for a birdie at the 11th. He was +4 for the first 13 holes, Johnny. So he's now played the last 34 holes in 4 under par. So Justin Rose showing a lot of patience, a lot of persistence. That's what it takes to play well here at Merion. He finds himself at even par and 2 shots off the lead. Being held by Schwartzel and Luke Donald. 3rd round action of the 113th playing of the U.S. Open Championship. More after this. Here at the 11th, Mickelson, second shot, 136 yards. Johnny, this is a chance to maybe be aggressive. Just a wedge.
Well, he birdied the last, so maybe he can get another one.
Oh, the flag stick.
Good shot.
Yep, it is very makeable from there. Just a little bit of right to left break. Up at 13.
Henrik Stenson has already missed his birdie attempt. And now Poulter for birdie. He's not going to swing that much.
Well, he's hit some poor putts for him the last couple holes.
So Stenson's birdie streak is over. He stays at +1. We go to 12 for Mahan's birdie attempt. Remember, he had that awkward stance in the rough, so a 4 here would be good, but a 3 would be bad.
That's amazing, that 3, because that tee shot could have been unplayable just a foot or two short of where he was.
So Mahan is 2 under on the back nine. You've got Day 3 under on the back nine. You got Michael Kim 4 under on this back, and Hunter Mahan has moved it to even par within 2. And back to 11.
Luke Donald, second from 134.
He'll be taking dead aim.
Asking for it to carry. When it doesn't.
Well, if he's not buried, he's the best in the bunker.
All right, let's take a look at the lower body action here. Johnny getting the left hip turned and cleared out of the way. Leading with the handle. I think he hit a solid shot. I think it was just a matter of not carrying it far enough. Maybe misjudging it just ever so slightly.
I think you're right.
Up to 12.
And here's Schwartzel for birdie.
Moves right all the way.
Took a little hop, but a good putt. Just a couple of rotations short. But Schwartzel's going to remain tied with Luke Donald. He's at 11.
And bunker shot here, Roger. Not a lot of green to work with. I mean, we have touted Luke Donald's skills from the bunkers for many years. He is about as good as there is on the PGA Tour.
There's no doubt about that, but ball's a little bit below his feet here. It came down where his feet will be above the ball, which makes it even harder yet to get it up and soft.
I think a really good shot would be, what, 8 feet by, Roger?
That would be acceptable, certainly. Well, just no spin on it at all.
That was
just turned right over.
Fairly predictable, huh, Gary?
Well, with the downhill lie, yeah, no question about it. We go back to 16, the par 4, the quarry hole, over the first of the quarry holes. Michael Kim playing his third. Drove it in the left rough, was fortunate to get it to this position. But it's going to be a lengthy putt left for a par. Back at 11, beautiful view here of the lowest point on the entire golf course. That is Cobb's Creek that meanders around the green.
And I guess some 40 times in Superintendent Matt Schaefer's tenure here at Merion, that has been flooded over, and I guess the green is pretty much 100% silt.
Underneath, yeah.
Underneath the grass, yep.
Matt Schaefer telling us earlier in the week that because of that, it is one of the firmest greens on the entire golf course.
It's like road base under there.
That's right. They have it down pat, though, what they need to do if once and when it does get flooded. And how about that little view from the patio there of one of the homes nearby?
Maybe Mickelson's going to make a run here, Gary. Birdie, he birdied the last hole, might get next 3 holes, counting this one. He might get a couple more.
And Roger, this is makeable here.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you, John. I mean, I think it's a great opportunity at hole 1 here. Get a little momentum going. You got 2 wedge shots coming up the next 2 holes, or short iron at the worst at 12, and a chance to get on a run.
Little downhill, little movement to the left. He's got it. Back-to-back birdies by Mickelson. And he gets back into red figures, 1 behind. Big smile on his face and Jim Mackay's. That crowd we mentioned, they like it as well. Big fan favorite, Phil Mickelson, for good reason. I don't think there's a player on the PGA Tour that spends more time and gives more to the fans than Phil Mickelson. So we go over to 13.
And Hunter Mahan, after the unlikely long birdie, dropped at 12, has a chance for another one here at 13.
He's got a sandwich here, Danny. That's This is on a perfect line. He's got the distance.
That's right to the side. You're talking about, Johnny.
Almost far enough left.
He nearly made history in a U.S. Open in Merion. No ace ever here.
That was close to where we needed it to get a 1. Look at him. He knew it was a good one. You almost have to pull it by accident because it's hard to aim left of the flag. There's not much green over there. Tell you what, when you hit that shot as a player and you hear the people starting to get that noise, whoa, you gotta go in.
Over at 11.
Luke Donald for his par. Another putt that'll move a little left. Looks good. Nice up and in for Luke Donald. And he stays at 2 under par.
I'll tell you, he's looking pretty darn good. I'm very impressed with his putting right now.
Over at 16, the amateur Michael Kim for his par. This putt actually moves toward the back of the green to the right. Hard to see. Poor tee shot set up that bogey. Up at 18.
On the tough 18th, Jason Day drove it in the rough. And then now this for par on the edge.
Second toughest hole today behind number 5. And, you know, a 5 really is not really a solid bogey. It's playing 4.7 average.
And still a 2 under round of 68 for Jason Day, helped by those 3 birdies earlier. 5 total on the day, and Day is right there again.
Just hate to finish with, even though he made 2 at 17, you hate to make that bogey on the last.
Schwartzel at 13, Noda.
He's got a sand iron. Needs to split that left edge in the hole. And this is right at the left edge. Needs a break.
Some guys maybe trying to flirt with that left side a little too much, maybe, and
yeah,
pull it back in there and get it close, like we saw Mahan, but
not a good shot though.
You misjudge it, and you're in the rough just like that at 11.
Horschel for a 3.
He needs one badly.
And he's got it. That's his first birdie of the day, Johnny. Moves him to +1, so just 3 back, and maybe that'll settle him down just a little bit. Luke Donald with a great par-saving putt at the 11th, remains at 2 under, tied atop with Charles Schwartzel, who has missed the green at the little 13th. Luke Donald, smooth as ever. Schwartzel, well, he's Mr. Smooth himself. Those 2 are tied atop.
Downtown Philly aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Whether you're driving 300 yards or 3,000 miles, choose Goodyear for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Just about 8 miles from downtown city center. Merion continuing here with the U.S. Open at the 12. Donald off the tee.
He's birdied this hole both times, and 13 also. So that's just what he needed with his wedge game, and he's #1 in putting. Luke Donald is this week.
Back across Ardmore, you've got Schwartzel with his hand in his pocket as he lines this up one-handed.
Yeah, he does that every time. Got the finger down the shaft, see the right index.
And that is a beautiful save. Like he saved at 11 with a flap shot. Short game again comes in handy for Schwartzel, and he remains at 2 under. And we go to 12 for Rose's birdie attempt. And then coming back to remain at even. And Michael Kim and his tee shot at the 254-yard par 3 17th. What a day he's got going.
Got to go through it, and he's lost it right. And we'll see how far right it is.
Coming off just his second bogey of the day at 16. He was 4 under on this back before the bogey at the 16th. And there he is, 2013 Jack Nicklaus Award winner. Not only did he win the Jack Nicklaus Award. Earlier this week, he won the Haskins Award, which is given to the National Player of the Year, as voted on by players, coaches, and members of the media. This is his very first U.S. Open, 12th ranked amateur in the world, and he was one of 3 Cal Golden Bears to make it here to the U.S. Open, and one of 2 to make the cut. It's just 4 amateurs made the weekend here. This is Steve Stricker.
Seems like it's been a couple hours since he has made a 12-footer, so he is definitely due. This one is going to turn to his right.
Yeah, it's probably 5 or 6 inches outside left. And it just moves right the whole way.
So Stricker, after that double at 9, has come back and erased them with another birdie, a second and 3 holes to get to even. And Mayhem with a tap-in birdie at 13 has 3 birdies to open up his second 9. He's at 1 under. First time he's been in red numbers today. So now you've got 4 under par, Schwartzel and Donald, and then Nicholson and Mahan. And Stricker's latest birdie has gotten him to within 2, along with Justin Rose. As we go back out to 12, and Rose to stay there 2 back. As the contenders get ready to head to the quarry. Back behind him in the fairway is Mickelson, and Roger is there.
And 137 left for Phil.
I think it's playing 140, you know what I mean? And it's just not playing 140, we can add to the pitching wedge, go long left and let it come back. Okay, fair enough. If it's not getting any hurt, I can definitely hit it. I've been looking at the tops of the trees, there's very little, getting late in the day, you know what I mean? Yeah. I should quit somewhat. You like that? I do, yeah. Okay. Take your time.
Looking at the tops of the tree again. Wicker baskets here. You're not going to get any help from flag sticks.
And the conversation went this way. Phil said, I'll hit a long left and it'll spin back. And Bones said it's getting late in the day. It plays a little longer than the yardage.
Hang on. Hang on.
Yeah, he's turning it left to right. Wanted to get down.
Stay on. Stay on. Stay on.
Nice smooth one, right, Micah? Yeah. Or you like a 130?
Just on the collar.
That was a long pitching wedge uphill.
Keeping it here for Billy Horschel coming off the birdie.
And a good birdie it was. He was getting a little ragged and a little distracted. Let's put it this way. This now from 135.
Down.
Yeah,
spin hard.
Pulled over to the left side.
Spin.
Guys are asking for a lot right now, Roger.
They're starting to bait now, aren't they?
Hey, we're seeing some birdies on this second 9 here at Merion.
Well, we expected it, though. These are the leaders. These are the reason why these guys are the best this week.
Even throwing in a couple unexpected ones at 17 that we saw from Day earlier. Now Donald.
That's from 134 and a much lower trajectory.
Get up.
Pretty good looking shot from back here.
That's the best thing at the pitch.
Right where we want to putt from, right up the hill. That is excellent. With the way he putts, that's probably going down.
And up at 13 across Ardmore Avenue. Mark, we've got Steve Stricker.
Caddy Jimmy Johnson has told him there is just a slight breeze from the left. This will be a dead-handed wedge. And a soft one.
Got it right where just about everybody's making it today. I mean, just pretty straight from there, maybe right edge.
We saw Michael Kim come into the bunker off this monster par 3, now getting a peek over the bunker lip. One of the white faces of Merion.
I'm not sure he didn't look at his name in the leaderboard about 20 minutes ago, and I'm hoping that didn't set a surge of adrenaline because he's sort of falling apart a little bit. Wants to drive it the hole before, and then this tee shot.
Remember, he's got 18.
Yeah, I know.
Coming up after that, but in danger of
still a
back-to-back
great
bogeys.
performance,
Yep.
but
Justin Rose now at 13, where there have been 22 birdies out of 67 tries.
Time to hit a good one here. Get a little spark maybe.
That's just a straight in putt right there. Just right where you want to putt it from.
To the 10th, and this the final hole of the day for Sergio Garcia, who began at 11. That was for birdie. And so Sergio Garcia finishing up his Saturday. There's a look at his card, and look at that 10 recorded at 15. Boy, 14 and 15 really beat up Sergio this week, so he was out +8, 42, and made a nice comeback. 75, though, it totals up to for Sergio Garcia, and back at 13 for Sendin.
Watch the footwork. Okay, not too bad. Very conservative.
Back at 12 for Mickelson, Roger.
Yeah, uphill, right to lefter from the fringe here. It's going to be on the slow side here.
But not quite enough. Easy 4, remains at 1 under. And this was just earlier Charles Schwartzel off the 14th. This is with golf club drive right on the left side.
This is a hard tee shot right here. There's trouble left, trouble right.
476 yards, and Schwartzel with a nice one. Up ahead the fairway, up onto the green. Poulter for par. Poulter staying close at +1. Back 12, Billy Horschel for birdie. So he's going to remain at +1. And up ahead at 17, this is the amateur Kim to try to avoid back-to-back bogeys.
So break to the right. Slow. Very
He's
slow.
not in for bogey.
Yeah, I'm just afraid he's getting a little nervous, but I hope I'm wrong.
Back over at the 12th. Luke Donald, chance to break out of the 2-under tie there with Schwartzel for birdie. Mentioned how Michael Kim had won the Haskins Award. Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, Graham McDowell, and Luke Donald are just a few who have won that distinguished collegiate award as well.
Yeah, he's the best putter out here right now this week, and this is a little bit slow, but the way he's putting, not much break.
If he doesn't make this, he is not going to be happy. That's about the easiest putt he's going to face all day, Jack.
It is.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, well.
Yep, stays tied for the lead. Number 1 in the world during the last 2 U.S. Opens, Luke Donald. But a tie for 45th. At Congressional, he missed the cut last year. Shot a 79 in the first round. Now Kim at 17 for bogey. He's dropped 3 in the last 2 holes after going 4 under on the back. Back at 14, Hunter Mahan. Noda.
I got 200 yards, 168 front. This pin is 32 yards deep into this green, 5-iron in his hand.
Did he get it all?
He's hit it solid. He's pulled it just a touch.
That was a long ways for 5-iron uphill late in the afternoon.
Well, lots of talk this week about how these could be the toughest final 5 holes in major championship history. You look at the toughest final 5 in the U.S. Open since 1992. 14 through 18 this week, 2.27, so well over the final 5 toughest since 92, led there by Winged Foot. So as advertised, as you cross Ardmore and you get by that little par 3, the action really heats up.
And a lot of the difficulty in this 14th is the tee shot. Guys will hit it in the left fescue, in the long rough left, right bunker. long fescue on the right, so these guys have hit good drives. So
A little bit of an uphill shot here, Johnny. Some 22 feet.
Yeah, that's a lot no to uphill.
Schwartzel's got a 6-iron. And he does play about 8 yards uphill from this part of the fairway, and he's pulled this one as well.
Yeah, when you've got an uphill shot, it's hard to get off that right foot, and then your hands take over, and you pull it. So
while Schwartzel was hitting, this was Steve Stricker for his birdie at 13.
Just breaks just a little bit left.
That was a good chance to open up the back nine here with 3 in the first 4 holes. Now we're live here with Justin Rose, Mark.
Well, this is an easier putt than the one Steve had, I think, Johnny. I don't see much break at all here.
We have not seen this putt missed all day, Mark. That's how easy it is.
Justin Rose has been working hard all day. Had it to red figures with his birdie at the 4th. A chance to get back there again. Yes. And Rose joins 4 others at under par now.
That's the kind of putt I like right there.
Let's check in with Tiger again, Gary, at 16.
Well, it's been a disappointing day, Dan. Birdie at the first and has made 5 bogeys since. Not a single birdie after that first hole. Second shot up the hill here. Players can only see the very top of the flagstick and the wicker basket. And that is missed right. Doesn't get the kick left that he's expecting, and not even sure where it went as we go to 13.
This is a par attempt for Sendon to stay at +1. Even on the day, 3 birdies, 3 bogeys, all of that happening in his first 9. He's parred every hole here, 10 through 13. And they head to the quarry. Stricker has just this tap in for par for him. He stays 2 back.
In case you just tuned in, he did make double bogey at number 9. Otherwise, he'd be tied for the lead and went in the water on the par 3.
Let's go to 15.
And this was just a moment ago. Ian Poulter with his tee shot. The tees have been moved up a little bit today, and that is left heading toward out of bounds, and there it goes. Right over Golf House Road. Back to 13.
Mickelson.
This is all about dialing it in here. Pretty good looking shot behind the hole for the spin. Not enough.
It must be jacked up. Those last 2 wedges were in a full club longer than he wanted.
He hit that with a gap wedge, Johnny, which it seems like a lot of club for that shot,
Well, you
doesn't it?
remember what he did yesterday, right? Didn't he one hop buried in the bunker?
Yeah.
So they're having a little trouble bonesing him on this club on this hole.
Horschel. That's some intensity.
Yeah, he's a fireball, and he's probably playing some of the best golf of anybody in the world the last 2 months, right?
Up at 14, Noda, Hunter for birdie.
Uphill, left to right, pretty slow putt.
And yeah, wow, a bit left for par. To remain at 1 under, back at 13 for Donald.
To spin.
It'll be good. That's that putt that everybody's made. That's the putt that goes in every time.
So the final group is lined up for birdie putts at 13. Luke Donald tied for the lead at 2 under with Charles Schwartzel in search of his first major title in the hunt at the U.S. Open. for birdie and a share of the lead at 13.
Moves left the whole way.
But not that much.
No, he put it way out there for some reason.
Up at 14, Schwartzel will check out pinpoint animation to see what kind of putt Charles faces from 31 feet. Swinging left to right and down the hill.
An unlikely birdie, but you never know.
He's made 4 of them, which came at a pretty packed part of his card.
He hit it?
Yeah, just too tentative.
A lot of putts short. We've seen that in a lot of U.S. Opens, though, haven't we?
Over 13, Horschel looking for another one.
It's just outside right edge.
Rams it home to get back to even.
He loves it. He's fired. Fired up.
To 16.
The short putt for his par for Woods. And the second shot came up just a little short right. Played a nice little pitch to here, and wow. Johnny, that has been his story in the majors the last couple of years now. Just does not putt the same way he putts in the regular tour events.
Yeah, it's been 5 years.
Yeah, unbelievable. Back at 13.
And here's this putt we have just seen poured in time and time again. And Luke Donald just hit the edge.
That's 2 putts that he's missed on the right side that were very easy putts.
Over 14, where Hunter Mahan has already made par. This is Schwartzel to remain at 2 under. And Schwartzel and Luke Donald at 2 under. Phil Mickelson and Hunter Mahan at 1 under, and Justin Rose the only other player under par. And as we've reached the 6:30 hour, we've got probably a little more than 90 minutes of golf left, Johnny, so they're going to play past the 8 o'clock hour here at Merion on the East Coast. And what are your thoughts of what you've seen so far?
Well, you know, Merion is playing tough, and these little holes like 10, 11, 12, 13 that you would think you'd breeze right on through. The guys are hitting a lot of tentative putts, but all in all, we got a great leaderboard. Schwartzel, of course, won the Masters a couple years ago, and Donald, who's not won a major, right up there, and then, of course, Phil also is 1 under, and he is probably the guy to beat as far as knowing how to finish a golf championship. So there's other players that can do it, like Hunter Mahan and etc. But Justin Rose. But it's a very good leaderboard, top players, and that's what a great course will do, is produce great champions.
And the key groups are coming to the quarry portion of the course, and there are all sorts of treachery out here.
Yeah, this is all out of bounds right here, and so that's a very dangerous shot.
They have continued to move this tee back through the years, and this is a great example of grabbing more yardage at Merion. When we were here for the U.S. Amateur Championship back in 2005, they utilized the teen ground, or the putting green near the clubhouse there, and they've continued to move back. There was the 2009 Walker Cup that was staged here, and then they've grabbed, you know, even more through the years, so they've gone back there for that tee shot, and it's lengthened this hole a lot. And so now we've got Stricker looking at his second here from the fairway. Mark?
Danny, he sacrificed a little bit of yardage for accuracy here. He's got 227 now up the hill. John Senden will have wished he had sacrificed some accuracy for yardage. He's in the bunker on the right. Not a very good spot.
227, got to be playing maybe 240 almost.
Yeah, or 245 almost.
So I'd be surprised if he can get it there, but he just wants to get on the green, make a par here. Tough hole.
Oh, he ripped it right up there.
Yeah, it's still, you know, club short, but it's a very good shot.
Now back at 15, Hunter Mahan's already hit the fairway. Charles Schwartzel getting ready to play. Note it.
Peter, a lot of options here. The widest part of the fairway is 220 to 240, and that's where Hunter hit it, and that's what Charles is trying to do right now.
You can see the people that are lining Golf House Road there. You've got to start it at them and turn it to the right.
And where the people are, the OB's just on their backside.
They are out of bounds, correct?
Closest OB in play I think I've ever seen in the U.S. Open.
They're right on the edge of somebody's yard.
Yeah, I've never seen an out of bounds that close on a golf course, period.
Ask Sergio how he likes that OB.
Let's take a look at Charles Schwartzel's lower body action on that tee shot. Boy, a lot of snap in that club, too.
Yeah, that is really a beautiful, hitting
action
zone
there.
swing. And look at that follow through.
To 17.
Well, we checked in with Tiger. We check in with Rory, who's just mirroring Tiger's round today as far as score. He's +5 like Tiger as he hits his tee shot at 17. +8 for the championship, +5 for the day. But this is a beauty.
That was right at the hole. That's very nice.
Top 2 ranked players in the world not keeping pace today.
Nope. Pretty much blew themselves out of the championship with this round.
Justin Rose now at 14.
And he hit a good tee shot. He's only got 200 now up the hill.
Barely, you get a little right of that, you've got the thick stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look at how lucky he was. He could have been unplayable. Got a birdie putt. Unlikely birdie putt, but a birdie putt. Will that keep trickling? Yes, it will. Down that low. Very unlucky there after the good hop, but not bad.
Got this championship covered for you throughout the day tomorrow. Morning drive, 7 a.m. Eastern time, followed from live from on Golf Channel, and then we pick up our coverage on NBC Sports at 12 noon Eastern time again. Final round of the U.S. Open here at Merion. And here's Billy Horschel back on that tee at 14, which we mentioned had been stretched back alongside the putting green, 476 yards.
Well, there's a bunker being raked on the right, so a bag's still laying in the middle of the fairway in the driving area, so the player's still forced to wait here.
They've made all sorts of adjustments here to the golf course. They've had a stop sign out there that they had to remove. And then they had to paint a couple of fire hydrants green up there just because it's just so close to the side of Golf House Road and the changes. And there's the holes of the putting green there that teeing ground has been laid back into to grab every ounce of yardage they can out of this classic layout. Look at Billy Horschel's card. Began the day with Phil Mickelson tied for the lead. They were the 36-hole co-leaders. And then 3 bogeys on the front, dropped into +2, and then he's picked up a couple of birdies in the last 3 holes to get it back to even. So if you don't know Billy Horschel, you might have expected he might melt here in the final group on the weekend here with Phil Mickelson and Luke Donald, but he has been one of the most impressive players on tour this year. Had a streak of 23 straight tournaments where he made the cut. As he's waiting for John Senden to play his third up ahead in the fairway here at 14.
Like I said, he had driven the ball in the fairway bunker and wasn't able to advance it more than 100 yards. So a very long third for Senden now.
Well, these last 5 holes are tough. That's all there is to it. And you could melt big time.
But now Horschel's ready. And Roger, you're right there.
Not much wind blowing at all right now. What there is, hurting slightly.
I think it's the hardest tee shot out here. I think it's even harder than the next hole because it's placed so low.
And this is going right here at the bunker.
Very thick stuff over there. That's what we talked about.
You got stuff like that on the right. You got fescue on the left and long rough. You got OB left. This tee shot has really got a lot of problems.
It's just awkward in so many ways.
Well, it's uphill into the wind too. It's been playing into the wind, and it's.
Well, the one thing I do like about it, though, John, is it's beautifully framed. It really is.
Yeah.
It's hard, don't get me wrong, but it's beautifully framed.
Yeah,
at least for a guy who'd like to move it right to left.
Dangerous hole, though, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Off the tee.
Oh, yes.
And Phil, thank goodness for him, been hitting a lot of good shots with this 2-wood, 2 metal. just ripped it.
This is a beauty. This going up the right side, I think they should be just fine.
It is. I can honestly say if he had that club in his career, he'd have won 10 majors.
Whoa.
And up ahead at 15 now, Hunter Mahan. Don't forget, he's just one back. Up the hill from 175 yards. This is the new part of the green that's been flattened to create that hole location there. Back to 14.
Where it's Luke Donald's turn.
And this too, a solid tee shot. Up the right-hand side.
Good shape. It just curls into the...
A little unlucky there.
And back at 15 now, Charles Schwartzel from 170 yards. Good look up that hill. You see the wicker basket there on the front left. And he's losing this to the right. And it looked like it caught the lip of the bunker, maybe came back down into the sand. So a little bit of trouble for Charles here at 15. Just go to 17.
This was just earlier. Gonzalo Fernandez Castaño playing with Tiger and Rory.
A lot of spin. Cool shot.
And it's not so hard. 254-yard par 3. Nice birdie for the Spaniard. He's got a couple of birdies in the last 5 holes to get it to +4. He's played the better of the group. Where Rory and Tiger join him, Charles Schwartzel and Luke Donald joined at the top at 2 under. Images of the 113th U.S. Open, 5th U.S. Open at Merion. All sorts of contenders, all sorts of possibilities. Rory and Tiger have played their way out of contention at +8, but Phil Mickelson remains very much alive for his first U.S. Open title and his 5th major championship, out to 15.
Our co-leader, Charles Schwartzel, the ball did come back to the flat part of the bunker. Pretty basic bunker shot here, and he played a beauty. So he'll have that left for his par 4. See here, he's dug his feet into the sand nicely. Comes down steeply on it because he had to get that ball up quickly. That's one of the things that we see here with the white faces of Merion. These bunkers are pretty deep.
Justin Rose for his birdie here at 14. Steve Stricker has already missed his attempt.
Slow putt. Very slow putt coming out of these lows.
And up again to 15.
Now Hunter Mahan, just from this light fringe below the green, should come up the hill and turn to his left. And there you see, anything coming up these greens is very slow. To 17.
Saw the brilliant tee shot by Rory earlier for birdie just earlier to get it to +7. Rory's fellow countryman Graham McDowell, a U.S. Open champion from Pebble Beach in 2010 and a contender last year, by the way, +13, missed the cut. There were a lot of big-time players who missed the cut way off the +8 mark, and now amateur Michael Kim for bogey, so a rough finish for the amateur, but still +4 for the championship. He played the last 3 holes in +4, and now Stricker's par attempt at 14. And he remains even 2 off the pace as he continues to keep his hopes alive for his first major title at the age of 46.
He's very happy to make that 4 on that tough hole. 14 is really tough.
Just a magical kind of weather day here in Philadelphia. Aerial coverage provided again by Goodyear, providing all these gorgeous shots of Merion Golf Club. Hampered by some pretty rough weather last week and into this week, but all systems go the last 2 days. Good look at the famed quarry.
Yeah.
Well, there's a good look down at the 16th green, and you know, we don't get any crowd reaction when players hit good shots or make good putts there. Well, that's because there aren't any gallery around. The 15th tee is immediately to the right of the 16th green there, and then over to the left of the 16th green you have the 17th teeing area. So No gallery allowed back in that area at all, so the closest grandstand is all the way up at 17, some 200 yards away.
Back at 14, Phil Mickelson coming up the hill from 219.
Playing easily 230.
And right into a sun that's starting to get a little low in the sky, too. It starts left and hanging there.
Now, that's a closely mown area. It almost looked like green on your screen, but now you can see that it is not. And that'll be a Phil Mickelson kind of a spinning 64-degreer, probably. Zip, zip, boom, carrying 5 wedges, folks. 5.
Now Luke Donald just creeped into the rough.
And I was surprised. I thought he hit a very good tee shot. Now 215. Ball sitting down a little bit. Might help him, John, going up this hill. Get him to release a little bit.
Yeah, he might be hitting sort of a scooter.
Yeah, this one's going a little right, though.
Oh, just bounces off the top and kicks left, Roger.
Yeah, that's the kind of breaks you want. He's like saying, ooh, I like that sound everybody made, like I got a good break.
Yeah, that goes the other way. That's some thick stuff over there.
It squirted on him from that lie. That ball just slid right off the face. See if we can see it. See if the face is open. It's open. It's still open. And it finally squared up, but the ball was already gone.
15.
And Charles Schwartzel now just cleaning up his par putt. Hunter Mahan also just ahead of him made his par 4. So Schwartzel a good up and down from the bunker. He seems very calm and very relaxed. Charles Schwartzel tied at the top with Luke Donald at 2 under with Mickelson, Mahan, and Justin Rose just 1 back.
Phil Mickelson taking one last
Put those phones away, please.
look before he hits off the closely mown grass here with his third at 14. Roger.
And this is going to be one of those super spinner wedges, I believe. Very tight lie over here. Got an uphill slope the ball is resting on, so this will help him in getting the ball to spin. No spin at all. Ooh.
Hit that big, thick steel.
That would have been in if it was a fiberglass pin. He thought he made it. But you're not going to get any help from these steel pins.
Yeah, there's just no give in it. There's no bounce in it that kind of softens the blow. It just goes bang.
I mean, it's in with a normal flagstick. He's like saying, how could that one go in?
So blame it on the grand old tradition of the wicker baskets.
You got a wicker there, Phil. Boy, he's good at that, though. He just takes that 64 degree, just brushes the grass, tries to hit a low spin like Roger said, and he says that was in.
All right, before Luke Donald strokes this birdie putt, let's check it out on Pinpoint Animation. 36-footer going uphill.
It's not showing much break, is it, Dan?
Not much, if any, right?
Yeah, I mean, just a mini wiggle.
A little bit to the left at the end of it.
Yeah, right in the middle and left at the end. Pretty straight, Roger.
Doesn't do much. Putting from a high down through a valley, back up.
I always like these kind of putts. I don't know about you, because you're actually not really going up or down because you're level with the hole.
I'm pretty close to it. I think it's slightly uphill.
Okay. I know everybody's been coming up short there. It's into the green, I guess.
Show you the amateur leaderboard. And Michael Kim has been the most impressive by far for amateurs making the cut, the most in an Open since 2004 at Shinnecock Hills, and the leading amateur is with Bob Costas right now.
Well, it was even more impressive than what that leaderboard shows because Michael was at even par after 4 birdies in a 6-hole stretch after 15 holes of play today. Was at even par and only 2 off the pace until bogey, double, bogey kind of set you back a little bit. But still, you're 5 shots clear of the next best amateur. You're doing extremely well.
Yeah, it was a great day. It's been a great week, and just looking forward to tomorrow.
How did it feel for a long time to see your name in close proximity to Phil Mickelson, to Charles Schwartzel, to Luke Donald, to Ian Poulter on that leaderboard?
You know, I kept looking at the leaderboard, you know, not because I wanted to know how I was doing in the tournament, but, you know, it's so cool to see my name next to those names, like Mickelson, Donald, Schwartzel. It was just an incredible feeling.
You won the Jack Nicklaus Award. You're only 19 years old.
Yeah.
Turn 20 in a
Turn
month.
20 in a month.
Yeah, but well, then you'll be a grizzled veteran. Won the Jack Nicklaus Award as the nation's top college golfer as a sophomore this past year at Cal. Now that's terrific, but this is the U.S. Open.
Right. It's just you know, didn't really know what to expect coming in. I just honestly just wanted to make the cut. I thought that would be a pretty good week, and you know, did that this morning, and it feels great.
Congratulations on how things have gone so far.
Thank you.
Michael Kim, let's go out to 15, which not long ago, young Mr. Kim birdied.
And here's Steve Stricker. You can see he's laid well back off the tee, 175 yards up this hill. And if you do lay back, you're going to have quite a long second shot. Let's go to 14.
And this is a bogey attempt for Horschel, who drove it in the bunker. And so hoping for 5, yes. So just drops to +1, and we go to 16.
Schwartzel ready with his second. Line shot up the hill, Noda.
184, and he's tugged this, headed toward the left center of the green.
Now, importantly, gets it on the proper level of the green, so not an overly difficult putt from there. Back at 15.
Justin Rose now with his second. Well positioned, just 164 yards up the hill, more than likely just a hard 7.
Go.
And that's not too bad. Keeping that under the pin. It's a slow putt, but coming down on this green is a scary proposition. We've already seen putts knocked way by. Back to 14.
Mickelson trying to cap off another beautiful up and down, so many through his career, and that might have holed out had that not been for that wicker basket that Bones is hanging on to. And over to the quarry.
Yeah, Mahan totally blind shot.
This was an 8-iron, and this is on a nice line.
Oh, and it's good. Oh, it is really good. And of course, no crowd up there, so they don't know how good it is because they can't tell. Interesting. Players obviously rely on some sort of reaction when they can't see the green.
And that's going to put them tied for the lead.
All right, well, we have a chance. 113th U.S. Open Championship is brought to you by MasterCard. Gets you inside the game. By Lexus and their pursuit of perfection. By Titleist, the #1 ball at the U.S.
He's never met a conversation he didn't like. OTR with Michael Landsberg. Weekdays at 5 on TSN. 2013 U.S. Open Golf is brought to you by Titleist, the #1 ball in golf. And by Johnny Walker. Why not share a scotch? Please enjoy responsibly.
Poulter hit a hook. He did go on to make double bogey. But you can see there it is in the middle of your screen, and Golf House Road is directly to the left of that fairway. Literally 2 steps from the left edge of the fairway. Now this is an aggressive play here, Roger, with that 3-wood.
Not necessary. I don't like challenging this hole this way, but that's just my opinion. And he's hitting. This is traveling right to left. May want it to get down a little bit.
That's perfect.
That'll be fine.
Yeah, when I say we've seen a lot of others, I mean scores higher than double bogey. See our pro tracer here, he hit a nice cut. And that's pretty bold, cutting it toward that out of bounds. Earlier today, we saw Sergio Garcia hit 3 balls out of bounds and make a 10. Now Luke Donald's got an iron.
Yeah, this is more in my ballpark. Maybe I'm kind of chicken, but I like this play. Gives you the widest part of the fairway to deal with. And takes the out of bounds out of play. That's going up to left center. This is fine.
What Luke Donald said earlier in the week about a U.S. Open, he says, you just don't ever want to panic in a U.S. Open and hit stupid shots. And he seems to be right on that plan. Good strategic play. Charles Schwartzel and Luke Donald, they lead at 2 under. With Phil Mickelson, Hunter Mahan, and Justin Rose just 1 behind.
The moments, the history, and all this tradition here at Merion. Where Phil Mickelson hopes his U.S. Open history is finally on his side. Justin Rose, among others, looking for their own major championship titles along with Hunter Mahan. On top of the board for now at 2 under, Luke Donald looking for his first major triumph, and Charles Schwartzel looking to add the U.S. Open trophy to a green jacket. Late in the day, 7 o'clock in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, we go to 16.
Where Schwartzel has a lengthy putt for a birdie, and one I'm sure he would be more than happy to just cozy up close, which he does nicely. Back at 15.
Justin Rose now, this a moment ago, for his birdie and a share of the lead at 2 under. This is slow, straight up that hill. Well, he got it there, just got it a little bit left. Back to 18.
And this is Tiger for a day-ending par.
Yeah, and his chances for this U.S. Open are toast.
7 bogeys for Tiger. It's not been a good day for his girlfriend Lindsey Vonn to watch him, but nonetheless good to see Lindsey out here, Olympic skier, and telling us that she ran for the first time since surgery earlier this week, and so that was a big milestone for Lindsey. But
and that's Tiger's highest 54 hole as a professional in the U.S. Open, +9.
And back at 15, John, watch how much this breaks left. This is Steve Stricker.
Just touching it, huh?
Just touching it. It just goes directly left. And that's pretty good speed. A lot of guys knock that way by. 16.
Mahan with a chance to share the lead. Takes advantage of the great second shot. So Hunter Mahan to 2 under par.
A few fans from the distance, Gary.
Well, there are, yeah, probably got binoculars out from the grandstand behind 14 or 17. That's the only way you're going to be able to see. Up at 18.
And Rory McIlroy for par. So he beats Tiger by a shot. 75 for McIlroy. Top 2 ranked players in the world combined for +17.
Yeah, he's the last 5 U.S. Open rounds, he's +18. He was 16 under at Congressional alone.
Gonzalo Fernandez Castaño with a round of +272 in that group. And back at 15.
Good look at what Luke has up this hill at 15, Roger.
177 left up this hill. And that's why I like this play. I mean, 6-iron probably playing uphill now. It just makes more sense to me. It's really much safer and potentially takes a big score completely out of the equation.
Yeah, and I think this is a situation right here where you do not want to go long past this whole location, simply because it is so quick coming down that hill to that pin. So I think that play that Luke has just made is probably the smartest thing he could do. Coming in these last 4 holes, you just don't want to make any big numbers. You want to just keep the ball below the hole, make your pars, and get ready for tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Just a little left of the hole.
And that is a beauty. It's going to keep trickling right here. To 17.
Hunter Mahan coming off the birdie at 16, tied for the lead at 2 under. 3-way tie right now, does not like it.
He's lost this right, headed toward those bunkers.
Well, somehow he got in between them. Not that that's a real bargain, but
At least he didn't get into the really thick stuff, the brow on those bunkers.
Absolutely, that could have been really bad.
Back at 15.
You know, Roger, what Mickelson hitting that 3-wood off the tee tells me is that he feels good about his swing and he feels like he's got everything under control.
Stock wasn't a draw. I still like the club. You want to go after a little bit more. Okay. But the thing about Hayes, it brings other things into play. You know what I mean? You want to keep this ball into the hole. I just felt that. So we can add the Pels 8. Yeah, let's talk about this because that's going to have to draw and plug in. You've got 50 tops on, and you necessarily have to activate right on. Okay. Doing that little bit of her, I can use Pels cut that right in there. I like that. Yeah. Okay, come on.
I think we need a glossary of terms to understand what that means, Roger.
A Pels 8.
Easy.
Just a little right of the hole.
Perfectly placed there. He'll have a good chance to make that. He can be aggressive. To 17.
Charles Schwartzel. Again, it's 254 yards downhill.
Well, that is a big iron. You see the full follow through 3-iron, just absolutely turbo blast boost with nitrous oxide, but not enough.
That bunker. See if how the lie is there.
I just don't know if he had the right club for that shot, but he tried to hit it hard.
Just splashed in there, back at 16.
Justin Rose on the tee. Another blind shot. Players play downhill some 36 feet or so to the level of the fairway. And hitting the fairway here is very important. That's not good. Left rough. Going to have to challenge the quarry now on the second shot. Back at 15.
Back at 15. Oh, how about this? Poor Billy Horschel in that bunker. He's got no stance, no lie. And that ball came out low and stays in that thick rough. So Horschel at 1 over will have his work cut out for him just to save par. Phil Mickelson now coming up to the 15th green.
Well, Mickelson has been flirting with his championship ever since he got on tour more than 20 years ago. Most PGA Tour wins without a U.S. Open title. Only Sam Snead tops Mickelson in the U.S. Open heartbreak department. Sam Snead had his own battles and trials and tribulations with his championship, but Mickelson is really right there with him when you consider how crushing the blows have been for Phil and his record five runner-up.
Yeah, it's hard to finish second 5 times. That's he's had a bunch of chances though where he had pretty good leads with 3-4 holes to go.
In fact, his 5 top 3s and 7 top 5s tied with Sam Snead for the most for anyone without a victory in this championship.
Stricker off the tee at 16, going with a fairway wood, and that is left as well. All going to depend on the lies that these players find in the rough. Back at 15.
Billy Horschel now with his 3rd. There's no question this young man is one of the bright rising stars on the PGA Tour. Came through the PGA Tour qualifying school last year and he said, oh yeah, I'm going to win this year. I'm going to win. And he has. And he's contended in a lot of tournaments. He's got a lot of talent.
Yes, from 73 yards has thrown it well up into the air. Wants that slope to bring it back, and it will some. It will last.
And that could be a hard-working man's par right there, Roger.
Just when you think Billy Horschel, who will tell you that he's had a hard time kind of keeping in the moment and keeping patient, just when you think he might blow a U.S. Open gasket, he delivers something like this.
Look at those eyes. And he starts running. He knows it's good. It was right over the top of the flag.
And you know this day on this golf course with this threesome has tested every ounce of that patience. He's kept it under control. He hasn't lost it.
And as a young player, this is how you learn. This is This is where you get your degree in the PGA Tour. To 17.
Schwartzel is away. Noda, what about his lie and shot out of that bunker?
Well, he got very lucky that this ball did not get hung up in that tall grass along the ridge of the bunker. It has a very long bunker shot, over 40 yards, and actually needs it to release, but with as hard of a swing that he needs to put on it, it's going to be difficult to not overspin it.
Schwartzel has just one bogey on the day. We'll get to his second shot in a moment. Quickly to 15.
Up the hill for birdie. Can he get it there? How does that not go in?
I don't know. I truly don't. I thought there was no chance they could miss.
It just ran over the top of that edge, and it's got to turn back toward the front of the green. Gravity says so. To 17.
Schwartzel now ready. Low bunker shot.
Will stay up.
Barely.
Yes.
And now back at 15, Luke Donald for his birdie. There you go. You can see the cup just behind his left calf. This is tricky fast here. Whoa. To 17.
Hunter Mahan from the thick rough.
Not a good shot.
So suddenly Mahan, Schwartzel at 2 under, close to coming back to 1 under perhaps, and this is no gimme coming back for Luke at 15.
Yeah, Roger, I would say this is probably longer than he had the putt for birdie.
But then there's no question. No question. Good news is he's putting from underneath the hole now.
So a lost opportunity for Luke Donald here at 15, but still, pars never hurt you in a U.S. Open.
He might have the lead by himself with Schwartzel and Mahan having their problems at 17.
And over at 16 just a moment ago, Justin Rose, second shot 194 to the hole, and we could see some of the ball, Johnny, which was a good thing for Justin because he was able to hoist that thing up.
That's impressive there.
And keep it on the very back edge of the green. Heck of a shot.
Yeah, that's when you need a little luck when you go in that rough and have a decent lie.
All right, now Steve Stricker from 169. Big swing. Muffy sound to it. He's running. Did he carry it far enough? Yeah, it's going to carry on to the front and chases up into the middle of the green. Wow. 2 great shots.
Pretty nifty shot there.
Yeah, that was really well done. Back to 15.
Billy Horschel now for his par, which would be a huge momentum builder. So that's a great 4. So Billy Horschel stays at 1 over, right in the mix. Back to 17.
Great look at the stands there. Some 5,500 packed in here on this incredibly difficult par 3. And Hunter Mahan has this 4 par. Great setting.
Danny's in great position. He's got to avoid the double. This is very tricky speed-wise. A little bit downhill.
Did he just get it over? Yes.
Yeah, that was an incredibly great putt, speed-wise. That's the hardest putt in golf is when you have to putt it up over a hog's back and almost pause it and then drift down. You have that, of course, at the 18th hole at Oakland Hills. Remember there where Steve Jones won? That is the hardest design principle on a green.
Mahan's going to drop at least 1 here, so he'll come back to 1 under. Schwartzel has a par putt up coming here at 17. We go back to 16.
Mickelson on the tee.
And I can remember this hole terrifying me back in 1981, Gary. I mean, if you didn't get the ball in this fairway, the next shot was ridiculous. You usually had to pitch up to the right because you didn't want to take on the quarry. So it's really important to get it in the fairway.
I mean, they're pretty far forward, Gary. Must be playing a cut.
Went for the tee quickly. That should be a good sign.
He started it right.
It's a beauty.
I can't tell if that's in the left side of the
A lot different than the driving he did at Winged Foot where he threw the championship away.
Well, by going with a wood off the tee, he's down there far enough now. It becomes a potential birdie hole. He'll have a short iron in.
Hit 2 fairways that final round at Winged Foot 7 years ago, I think, in that final round.
Yeah, he had that one in the palm of his hand.
This too. Beauty right about the line of fills. But further back.
Yep.
Job 1 completed in the fairway as we go to 17.
All right, Schwartzel trying to stay at 2 under.
Hit a very nice bunker shot. It released up there. Now he's got this tricky little left to right putt. Just has to make sure he releases down his line and not to the hole.
Only drop shot of the day came at the par 5 second.
You can see that hand in the pocket. And then finger down the shaft on the right hand. At the bottom, which, you know, kept it on the high side anyway, but just enough pull to not make it. And this 254-yard hole claims another one.
So Schwartzel, Mahan will drop at least a shot here. That means Luke Donald right now is the sole leader of the U.S. Open. Donald in that last group still have this 17th hole and the tough 18th hole. This is for bogey now for Schwartzel.
That 4 there is not going to be the worst thing that ever happened to him.
And again, Mahan's 2 under will come off that board at least to 1 under and back at 16.
Rose with a chance for a birdie. Actually a little slow as it's a little back uphill at the end. But after the tee shot, that should be a good par. We go to 17.
And the bogey attempt for Mahan.
Johnny, there are no gimmies in the U.S. Open.
No, there isn't.
So bogey fours for Mahan and Schwartzel. Drop them both to 1 under. So Luke Donald over at the quarry hole with the lead. And that's where we go now.
And back over at 16. Stricker with the chance for a birdie mark and a very realistic chance, probably unexpected after the tee shot.
I cannot tell you how good that second shot was, Gary. In fact, he contemplated laying it up at one point. It was not a good lie in the left rough, and as you saw, it barely cleared the quarry.
Marcus has been a tough putt for the players to read. It actually moves a little bit to the left toward the back of the green, and not easy to see. Played the break.
Might have pushed it, Gary.
Yeah, just not his best effort. Up at 18.
The Belgian bomber at this new teeing ground, just a little circle this side of the road you see just ahead of Nicklaus has stretched this hole out to 530 yards.
That's amazing. And coming off a 254 par 3, this is a narrow drive, folks. A lot of trouble left. Easy to miss it right.
Colsaerts has been on +2 most of the day.
And there's that trouble
way left.
And he probably, I hate to speculate, but maybe not a backswing. I'd say no backswing.
All right, Mahan is next.
Well, Mahan is did just what everybody would think. #1 in fairways hit this week. That's why he is right up there within a shot. 36 out of 41 fairways. That is impressive.
And Johnny, I've been watching in these last few holes, and he has just been on point with his ball striking today.
Where's this one? He's
this
begging.
one's headed left as well.
He's begging. And that will probably eliminate any chance they hit the green regulation, but he can put it just short of the green.
You saw earlier the only hole today at Merion without a birdie.
You got no choice here but to hit the driver, do you? Don't you? Nota?
No, not at all. I mean, players now, I love this kind of finishing hole because it puts the players in a position where there's no playing around the hole. You have to take the hole on, and that's what a major championship should be, is you have to take certain holes on.
It's just narrow looking. Inside that tree on the right. Is that going right?
It is right, and that's in the rough.
Oh, man, that's just down also. Nobody's going to hit the green on that threesome, I don't think. Unless they got a shot I haven't seen yet.
Back to 16.
Luke Donald will be first to play. Second shot here at the par 4. John McLaren, his caddy, giving him some last-minute instructions. And there's the view that Donald has, just able to see the very top of the flagstick and the wicker basket.
He's awfully good from the yardage, isn't he, Gary?
Generally a strength, John, yes.
176 here.
That's got to be another pull there.
Yeah, that's going to the very left side of the green.
Almost looked like he had his left wrist cupped at the top there, or not cupped, but bowed, Johnny, at the top of his swing, which he ordinarily does not do.
Yeah, that's that shut the face and make you hook it.
Regroup, Billy. Regroup.
Hear him telling himself to regroup.
Yeah, well, people walking in front of the green, Gary, crossing in front of his path, so forced to wait. 172 here.
Oh, I cut it. You got to cut, don't you?
Playing it into the center of the green, trying to move it to the right over by the hole location. Safely aboard. We go to 17.
Justin Rose at the dangerous par 3, Mark.
And not much wind to affect this shot, just a little from the left.
One place you don't want to go is left, so he probably knows that.
It is not going left. Pretty good looking shot.
Yeah, that's a very fine shot. Even that rolls off the green into the primary, but not a bad looking lie.
Back at 16.
Well, Mickelson, this appears to be totally blind, Roger.
Right, he's hit it far enough down that he is totally blocked from view of the wicker. Walked all the way to the top of the hill immediately short of the quarry to get a view. This is from 150 yards.
Chance to be aggressive here.
This will stop on a dime with a 9-iron.
Should.
Oh, come on.
He likes
it. Yeah.
Oh, he likes it, and he should. This looks pretty good from here.
Come on.
And it is.
Nice
Yeah.
try.
That's within 12 feet of the hole. And a very makeable putt. Aggressive off the tee, pulled it off. Became a short iron second
Well,
shot.
there's no crowd up there.
Good work.
You heard Mickelson say there's no crowd up there, so you wonder how good it is. It'll be good once he gets up there. Stricker now.
It's a long 5-wood there, Steve. But he can get it on the green with that, but I don't know if he can get to the hole. It's sort of in between clubs for these guys.
Final few holes. The quarry at famed Merion. Claiming a few victims. 18 has been brutally tough. Everybody's got to go through there. Third round of the U.S. Open coming to a close in Ardmore. See there, that comes your way later tonight on NBC Sports Network. Out to 16.
And the lengthy birdie putt for Luke Donald on the way. Not an easy one, up and over a little ridge right about there. And he has judged it pretty nicely. At 18.
While we were away, Gary Schwartzel from 250. Ball sitting up.
That's thick, lush rough there, though. He's strong.
By the way, Hunter Mahan had to lay up, and Schwartzel's come up short, but not all too bad. Little look at the contact here. They did cut the rough.
Look at that position. That is power right there. Look at the leg drive, and look at the delay. He's gripped down on it. Look at the lead, and then perfect release. Stayed down. Look at the head. I mean, that is every ounce of energy with one of the best looking swings you will ever see.
Back to 16.
And Mickelson eyeing this putt for birdie. Horschel has already putted and missed his birdie opportunity. In fact, ran it about 4 or 5 feet past the hole, so he has work left for a par.
Gary, I gotta believe this one moves just gently to his left.
I would agree with that, Raj.
This is very holeable.
This for his third birdie on the back nine against no bogeys. Oh, it stayed right there, Raj. It did not move. Oh.
Probably one of the most silent putts Phil Mickelson has ever had in a crucial stage at a major ever.
Yeah, put it right on the right edge, and it stayed right there.
Not like the reaction would have been any different had he made it. From the crowd noise, that is.
Ahead at 17.
Oh. You can light up the 17th green here with a birdie, and there haven't been very many at all here. Stricker touring around, checking it out.
Been a good comeback here for Steve after that double bogey at 9. It's a long finish for him, Johnny. He has to hit some really long clubs into these holes.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way he could have gotten it there, but it's a very good leave with that 5 wood, and par here is a half birdie.
Just 4 birdies today, total at 17, 0 at 18.
Playing for it to break a right, which it does. Not a gimme 2 putt.
Not a gimme putt coming in there either. For a par 3, back at 16.
Donald for his par. Horschel was able to make his par putt. And Donald does the same, so good pars all around at the start of the quarry. For Donald, Mickelson, and Horschel, we go ahead to 17.
And Justin Rose, a little bit of an iffy lie here, Mark.
Yeah, it's a sticky looking kind of lie, so he's going to take a lofted club and I think turn it down.
Oh. Just got caught up in that tricky lie.
Yeah, we've seen Tiger do that twice, right? Little chunks this week.
Rose hasn't made a bogey since the 6th. He's in danger here at 17. John Senden made a double at 16 to drop the +4, made a bogey at 14, so he's really faded a bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to try to do.
What is the situation with Colsarts? Looks like he's going to try to play this.
He's taking forever on this.
Well, he's debating on whether to take an unplayable, and he's looked at all his options, the 2-club option, and then keeping the ball between him and the flag stick, and neither of those options he thought were going to work for him, so he just tried to hit it out and hit it about 3 feet.
That's not that good either, is it? Backswing wise?
No, he's going to have to hit that one left-handed.
I mean, he took 5 or 10 minutes to figure that out.
Back at 17 here is Senden, who could use a birdie right now.
It's amazing how small a margin of difference there is between a good place and a bad place. This ball is only 4 feet from Justin Rose's.
too long ago that Sendon was tied for the lead. In fact, 9 holes ago. Now he finds himself 6 shots back.
These last 5 holes, I said you could just have a huge meltdown.
All right, 3rd for Colsaerts.
And it's not getting any better out here for Nicholas Colsaerts. He doesn't have much of a swing. Just trying to get it out to the fairway.
Oh, still in the thick rough.
Yeah, this is, he was only 2 over par, right?
Yep. He was only 4 back, but by the time 18 finishes up.
Could be a double or triple if you didn't watch out.
Back over to the grandstands at 17. Phil in the final group waiting behind this long par 3.
Well, he could technically be hit now. Colsaerts is way over the hill.
And this one a little bit on the slow side now, but in your eagerness here, the one thing you don't want to do is whip it 3 or 4 feet by and have it coming back down the hill for a bogey.
It's for par.
Towards the back of the green, that's always difficult, as Gary Koch has said about 16. One of the little nuances of these final holes that make it so hard.
Take another red number off the board. Rose falls 2 back. 3rd bogey of the day.
I thought he had it.
Tough little chip that kind of tangled in the rough off the club face. Now Stricker with a little left here for par.
Yeah, this is not an easy one here, Dan. But I guess if you'd want somebody putting, it'd be Steve Stricker.
He's been rock solid, other than that double he made at 9, Johnny, where he hit it in the hazard.
Yeah, he's got a chance, a really good chance tomorrow if he can finish these last couple holes correctly. Tell you how hard these last holes 14 through 18 are. The last 6 groups are 24 over par and they're not finished yet.
This is going to be good stuff tomorrow. Our coverage here on NBC Sports begins again at noon Eastern time, immediately following conclusion of play. You can go over to the Golf Channel and tune into live from the U.S. Open. So the wait is over for the final group at 17, and Mickelson will lead them off at 1 under.
And he's got 4 iron out. 254.
You gotta be kidding me.
4, it's the longest iron he's got in the bag, John.
Well, maybe it's more like a 3. Might just say 4.
He's hit it solid right at the center of the green.
He hit it solid.
That's going to get close. There's a hill right there. It'll just trickle it right off. That's why you could not miss it to the left of the green. And that's the best shot he's hit all day long, no doubt about it.
And whatever the loft is on that 4-iron, it's the right club.
He's got a lot of power. I mean, a lot more power than he did when he was young.
Okay, Hunter had to lay up here. So 116 with his 3rd. Blind shot.
It's hard to keep the ball right of the hole when you got that stance. And short and left.
And Mahan has really been beat up by this 18th hole. A double bogey and a bogey in the previous 2 rounds. Back at 17 for Donald.
And he has 2 iron.
You got that much firepower?
We will find out. Now this is well right. We'll never know.
Oh, at least it slips into the bunker. I guess that maybe was a good thing. That was pretty thick rough over there. Mickelson is lined up right underneath the wicker basket for what would be his 3rd birdie of the day. All of them perhaps coming on this back 9. Luke Donald in the lead for now by 1. Some 53 steps of a wooden staircase from the tee to the bottom of the quarry at the par 3 17th. And it has been for years one of the most famous photos as Mickelson and Luke Donald make their way down. We just kind of transpose from 1930 in the final day of that U.S. Amateur Grand Slam that Bobby Jones picked up here. Third from the bottom as he made his way down that same area here back in 1930. And here comes Mickelson and Luke Donald down in the modern era. Mickelson trailing the leader, Donald, by just a single shot. Up at 18, just in front of the green, is Schwartzel with his third.
He's tracking right at it and leaves himself a pretty good putt at it, maybe just outside right.
He's in danger of a bogey finish. So now we're live with Hunter Mahan. And he also has a par putt here, also coming off bogey at 17. Note this is some unbelievable 1-2 punch here at Merion to end it.
It certainly is, and that last shot that he had in there, could not see the flag at all, and it's hard to hit wedges to back pins, but when you can't see the wicker, and it was very difficult, and he did not hit a great shot.
Good lag, very good lag.
But Mahan, who went to the 17th at 2 under, is back at even. 69 for Hunter. Follows up the 69 he shot in the second round, so he's at even par. And Schwartzel, and that 1 under red number could come off the board as well, leaving the only 2 under par. The guys behind them who are in the throes of the quarry at 17, but Mickelson in good shape back there. And this was just earlier. Mickelson coming into that throng of fans in that great area of this old course. 5,500 sit on that scaffolding. That's an amazing job just to get that scaffolding there. That is a really steep hill, and that was placed in there nicely. So now Luke Donald from the bunker. Long bunker shot.
Hard to get it to the hole with your feet above the ball.
Yeah, well below. He's got to carry it pretty close to 60 feet.
That's pretty predictable. When you're standing above it, the heel grabs it and takes all the speed off of the shot.
This is Schwartzel to cling to the red. Mahan and Schwartzel suffer the same fate on the last two. Bogey finishes. Both shoot 69. Both through 54 holes at even par. So Luke Donald behind them has a 2-shot lead. But remember, Donald has a par putt upcoming, and Mickelson has a birdie putt back there. So the leaderboard could be really shaken up here late in the day.
That 450 yards that the USGA added to this golf course has really made this into a tiger.
Yep, and big time yardage on this 18th, Johnny. They played this 18th in the 4 previous U.S. Opens, all at the yardage that Ben Hogan played it in 1950. It was a 458-yard par 4, but it is 530, and this was just earlier Stricker from that back teen ground at 18.
And what a pressure tee shot this is. Left is bad, right is bad. If you hit it down the middle, you have done some good things. And watch this.
Oh, just that close.
Sitting up, though. He can get on that with some kind of a lofted fairway or hybrid or something.
All right, Raj. Luke Donald for par.
Yeah, just on the underside of a little ridge here. He's got to come up and across. Should go to his right.
Good looking putt. Well, another bogey on the 17th.
Donald slips back to 1 under. And so Mickelson, if he makes this, could be the sole leader of the U.S. Open with the last to play in a hole that he birdied last night late.
Roger just moves a little right.
Yeah, it just goes a little right. I mean, I think you had to get a pretty good picture of what it's going to do around the hole from watching Luke Donald's putt.
Kind of reminds me a little bit about Beth Page. Remember when he made that late birdie at 17 and that big, huge throng of fans at that par 3?
A little bit slow, this putt, the first half.
Just like 2002 when he lit up the hillside. This time the grandstand rises as one as Mickelson has the sole lead in the United States Open.
What a great two. 254 yards in 2 shots.
That, folks, just the 5th birdie all day.
Couldn't have been hit any better.
As quiet as it was on 16 is as loud as it got here on 17. And Mickelson in great position to take this lead into the final round Sunday. 3 under round Mickelson has going here on the back 9. And over at 18, just off the fairway. This was Stricker while Phil was making that birdie putt from 244, just trying to get it out there and roll it up as far as he could.
It might feed back, but that was a very fine shot. Hit the downslope of that wave.
So now live with Rose, Mark, from 237.
Yeah, it's a big second shot here. Steve hit a beauty.
Might have wiped it.
Yes, he did, Johnny.
A serious wiper there. That's when you come down, you pull with the left arm, and you leave your sort of thumb behind, and you got the face wide open, and you just don't compress the ball. It doesn't go anywhere. It goes right.
Back on the tee is the leader. Seems like a mile just to reach that fairway from this.
Well, there's such
brand new
pressure.
Back tee.
I mean, if you hit a big pole, it can hit the trees, and who knows what it might do. If you push it, there's trees and the maintenance yard over to the left. It's a pressure shot.
And those fans at 17 zeroed in on Mickelson here as he lifts this one out there.
Looks like it's 4-wood. That does not look like the 2-wood.
It's going at the left center. Very nice.
And made it by 1 foot, Roger.
What's that?
I made it by a foot with that 4-wood.
Is that as far as it got?
I mean, if a foot shorter, it would have rolled back down the hill.
In the shadows, you can't tell that from here.
That was 8 fairways in a row for Phil Mickelson under pressure.
Horschel.
It's going up the right side.
Good shot there. Can't believe Phil hit a 4-wood off this tee. I mean, the hole is 530 yards.
Donald, after just his 2nd bogey of the day, 1 back of Mickelson. Better believe it, he's got the driver and not a long hitter. And back here on this tee, it is a long way out to that little tongue of fairway.
1 behind Phil, 1 under par for the championship.
Yes, up the right side as well.
Oh, yeah, it's very nice. It's a good shot by Luke. Like I said, I still can't believe Phil hit a 4-wood on this hole.
Things coming to a close late on this Saturday, approaching the 8 o'clock hour. Phil Mickelson, after a birdie at 17, has seized the lead in the U.S. Open. 5 times a runners-up. All right, Mickelson, Horschel, Luke Donald making their way up to the fairway at 18, where Mickelson landed in the fairway just barely, and 17 preceded all of this. The crowd of better than 5,000 got a great look at that. And that got Mickelson the lead with Luke Donald's bogey. So we mentioned that they were going to check him out as he went over to the 18th tee. And now watch on the drive. You don't really see this kind of reaction from a drive. You got the crowd in the back, Mickelson's tee shot. Now watch the ball land in the fairway just at the bottom of your screen. The crowd's loving it. And Mickelson is loving where he sits right now at 2 under, leader by 1. While we were away, this was Justin Rose's 3rd at 18 from really deep stuff.
So a real chunk and run. And it's not going to stop. That is running away from him. And so not a good shot on the 2nd and the 3rd.
So like Mahan and Schwartzel, who preceded him, Rose is looking at a bogey finish. Now Stricker was able to get it just on the front portion of the green.
This is a long putt. I mean, as long a putt as you could have on this hole. It is uphill for the first half, so slow, and then downhill the second half.
Doesn't get much tougher than this. Easy to leave it well short, and it's easy to knock it way by, because once it gets past the hole, it's going away.
4 or 5 feet would be a nice leave.
Swinger to the left. Distance was pretty good, just the line was not good at all.
Well, once again on NBC Sports Network, Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals coming your way, Bruins and Blackhawks. That's at the top of the hour on NBC Sports Network. Steve Stricker will have a par putt that would put together the best back 9 of the week at 2 under as we send it down to Steve Sands. Steve.
Dan, thank you. Hunter, how much does Merion test your patience?
Yeah, it's all about patience, isn't it? It's a U.S. Open. There's some, this being it has such a great collection of holes, long and short, and you're going to have some opportunities, and you just got to hang in there. You got to fight. You just got to get up and down a few times, make some putts, and you can string some birdies like I did today. But boy, you got to hit a lot of good quality shots.
I know you're disappointed with the finish. What do you take out of the round?
Yeah, I'm playing great. I'm putting great. I'm chipping great. I'm grinding well. My mind still feels great. And that's an important thing, because when you play a major like this and you play and wake up at 4:45 a couple times, you can be pretty tired, but I feel really good right now, and I know mentally I'm strong, and that's going to be the key tomorrow.
You're in the mix for Sunday. See you then.
Thanks.
Dan, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. It has been a draining, trying week with a 3.5-hour delay on the first round on Thursday, another delay at the end of the day. Mickelson took the red-eye out here. It's been well documented. That's how he opened up his first round, flying back from Amanda's graduation on the West Coast and arriving here at 5:30 in the morning. And up ahead of the last group is John Senden for bogey. He has really let it slide in the last 5 holes. Boy, he was taken out by the quarry, Johnny, +4 through the past 5 holes to finish up with a 74 after at one point having the lead in this championship. Now, Justin Rose is going to bump it out here with a fairway medal.
Yeah, that's not a bad play, really.
No, especially after you did what you did back at 17 out of a similar lie. So this This one he's going to just try and pop it out, get it on the green and rolling.
This is the 3 medal. Well, he had the right idea, but couldn't play enough break.
So the contenders here, we could have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bogeys made in the last 2 holes by these groups just finishing 17 and 18. Stricker has a par putt left, but they have really been beaten up in the last 2 holes. Mickelson still waiting out there in the fairway. And Steve Stricker, who is trying to become the oldest U.S. Open champion ever. Hale Irwin is the oldest to put away this championship, the last of his 3 U.S. Opens. And if Stricker at the age of 46 could get it done, he'd be also the oldest first-time major champion ever.
And just to finish up, Colsaerts, we saw him over the left. He made triple bogey to go 5 over for the championship here at 18.
So this for par.
And he will need to hit this one firm. This one is uphill all the way.
Easy to miss it left, I think, if he doesn't watch out.
Yeah, I think he needs to start it just outside the right edge, Johnny, and give it a pretty good wrap.
Slow, like you say.
Coming in here
after double bogey in the 9th hole, hitting it in the water. That's really good. Even par for the championship, right in there.
The lone hiccup at the long par 3 9th. Birdies at 10 and 12. All the rest pars, including this par saver at 18.
That was pure right there. That is a pure 46-year-old stroke.
Justin Rose for bogey. Like Merion and Schwartzel, he bogeys 17 and 18. Coming from red figures, he drops to +1, but he's right there. So just the final group to finish. Can you imagine Steve Stricker if he's able to break through tomorrow, or this guy?
Left himself 274.
Wow.
I believe it's the forward again, John.
He's going to have to kill this if he wants to get it there in this. It's, you know, I mean,
it's about 70 yards back of the Hogan plaque.
Yeah, it's almost 8 o'clock on the top of the hour, and he's going to have to really hit everything he's got like he did in the last hole. Ball below his feet a little.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm telling you, he is flushing the ball right now, just killing it. And that was a terrible lie right there. That deserved much better than he got. But that green runs away from you. We've seen that. Look at this. Below his feet, maybe 5 inches.
Look at all the photographers behind him.
And he couldn't have hit it better if he hit a bucket.
On a hole that is probably has produced the most famous photograph in the history of golf.
Two iron here for Luke. 248. I can't imagine getting slamming it right.
Well, it's 2 in a row, last hole and this hole, Roger. And that is really tough grass. Very lush into the grain. He'll have a tough time getting that on the green.
There's a very good chance there'll be one player under par by the time this 3rd round is completed. Horschel now.
237.
And that gorgeous swing of his. Can he hold the green?
Going at the left side of the green.
Can he hold it though? Just runs away on that side. That's a very good shot. That's puttable.
So hard, so much of a brutal finish here. As Mickelson made the birdie at 17. to get himself to 2 under. And we talked about.
On a beautiful summer night in downtown Toronto, live from BMO Field tonight, Ireland in town to face Canada. It is international test match rugby coming up on TSN.
Father's Day. I'm sure, even with all the major championship experience that Phil has had through the years and all the nights he's slept on leads when he's been in contention for a major, he's wanted this championship for so long, Johnny, and to be on the cusp of it once again. Third-round leaders at Merion. Well, as you can see, none of them have gone on to win. In fact, the 4 previous Open champions at Merion didn't lead after any of the first 3 rounds. Mickelson had the lead in the first round with his 67. But this would be as popular a win as you could ever hope for in the world of golf in recent memory.
He deserves it after 5 second places, and 3 of those he had a good little lead with just a few holes to go. So will it happen again? There's a lot of people hoping that he won't fall apart, but that was an amazing shot he just hit and ended up in a very poor spot. It was very unlucky for Phil. It's up against a bank in some real heavy, like straw-like grass. Even though it's cut short, it's some really, really strong grass. And then Luke Donald's hit it in a spot that is maybe even worse. So it's a very good chance that Phil will be 1 under leading, and Donald will make bogey, and so there'll just be 1 guy under par. Merion is amazing what it's done to these guys with the long rough. It'll be interesting if he smiles when he sees the lie. That is one tough lie he's got. Great leaderboard, though. Just guys that really need a major,
Yeah, really, there's a need for this title. Mickelson, obviously, what we just stated. Donald in the major hunt. Stricker in the major hunt. Mahan, same deal.
And guys that just really need a major. And then, of course, Phil needs that U.S. Open to cap off his career, So this is going to be very exciting tomorrow, folks, in this golf course with the finish that it has. Nothing is safe coming in with 5 holes to go.
Definitely mine. I just can't see that. Is there a rule somewhere there? Yep. I can't see. I just want to make sure it's mine. Can I identify it? Yeah. Put a mark there.
Hager, president of the USGA there, saying Luke Donald just needs to, he wants to just make sure it's his ball. It's so deep down there.
It tells you a little something about how bad this lie is. It is terrible.
Yeah, we've seen some balls there, Roger, and guys try to hit it, and it's like hitting out of a wet sponge.
This one's really in there deep, and the grass behind the ball, Johnny, is going straight right.
And this is a mixture of about 4 or 5 grasses, different kinds, and it's very thick. He's got to hit it harder than he thinks.
Just grab the hosel, shut it over.
And that lie was brutal. Now he's got one dead into the green again. Dead into the green. Watch it grab this. Look how open the face is now, and then look at where the face is at this point. Shut. Just went sideways.
And now he would love to have a bogey.
And you can see from his face how shocked he is at that shot. It's just, his countenance is just changed.
He kept it so well under control through 16 holes, a bogey at 17, but at 18 here, he gets smacked around one more time.
And he just hit it right where guys walk off the green, and it's right into the green for a chunky lie.
And this is the kind of shot you want to get a little drive on, Johnny, going back uphill. You want to hit hit it low with a little momentum. You want to have some speed on the ball, and this is not going to help.
Well, he hit the shot at 17 the same way as he did at 18, short and right with the face open, didn't release his right side. tough 18th hole for him. Looking at double bogey.
Looking at the scores at 18 from the last few groups, and it is unbelievable. The triple by Colsarts, and then just bogeys literally by everyone.
And look at Phil, the grind that he's putting on this shot. How am I going to hit it out of this? Horschel is away. 2 good shots to get here. Putting up the hill. Roger?
As you say, up the hill should move a little bit toward the back of the green, I would think. Slow putt.
It's a good spot to putt from. Very nice. He's so happy with that hole.
Absolutely.
That's really a birdie, actually.
So Billy Horschel in the glare of the final group in a U.S. Open on this Saturday with Luke Donald and Phil Mickelson.
He just slipped off his hand.
Is going to get in at +1. Now the third for Mickelson.
Just lie as bad as I thought, Roger?
Yeah, this isn't good. He's going to have to get the club kind of up abruptly and try to get down on the back of it. Again, try to get some momentum coming up this hill. No, I'm not going to get there.
It just was like straw. It was like it was the strongest looking grass. It was cut down, and see that color of that grass, folks? It just, the club just stopped. I mean, it just said, you can't do that, Phil. So this is an amazing golf course. That's all you can say. Yeah, you have these real easy little holes, 10, 11, 12, 13. It looks like you're playing a local muni on those 4 holes in some ways. And then all of a sudden, 14 shows up.
Yep, this little classic gem has put a hurting on the field of 1,775 over par for the championship.
Well, let's see if the putter can sort of save a stroke for both Phil and Luke. Slow putt, Roger, and not much there, is there?
Not much. Anything, I think it has to go a little left, but not much. Oh, and it didn't.
I think he's a little flustered right now, Roger. Those shots he hit at 17 and 18, and then especially the third here and the fourth, and he's sort of, his face is very red, in case you didn't notice, just flushed.
Still not in for double.
Well, I've yet to meet a golf pro, John, that likes losing 3 strokes to par in the last 2 holes.
Yeah, it's tough when you got all eyes on you and it's the U.S. Open and going for your first major.
And you work your tail off, but just ahead of them, Mahan, bogey, bogey finish. Schwartzel, bogey, bogey finish. Rose, bogey, bogey finish. Donald, bogey, double.
And here's a good chance for a 2-4 finish, which is, man, it ran over some people if he were to make this.
This for par.
Not that hard a putt, really. Wow. Right in the middle of the hole, well read.
But it's going to turn out like we thought. Johnny Mickelson is going to be the leader, and he's going to be the only player under par. And he's going to be playing with Hunter Mahan in the last group, as Hunter was the first to post even. And this for double now for Luke Donald, who drops 3 in the last 2 holes after being the leader by himself at 2 under. And now Horschel tapping in to remain at +1. He's just 2 back in that tie with Rose. And also Luke Donald.
What a finish at Merion, 14 through 18. Just incredible with the pressure of the U.S. Open and the difficulty of these long holes.
So to look at the 54-hole leaderboard in the 113th U.S. Open, Mickelson, the only player under par, bogey at the 18th. Stricker, Mahan, and Schwartzel 1 back. Everybody was just beaten up except for Stricker at the final hole, and Rose, Horschel, and Donald at +1. Let's send it down to Steve.
Dan, thank you. Phil, how would you best describe the way it was out there for you today?
It was a day, Steve, I thought you could get under, and the fact that I was 2 over early, I had to be really patient not to force the issue and fight for a lot of pars out there and take advantage of a few birdie opportunities. I thought that I played better again than the score dictated, but this is a really fun challenge. It is a hard challenge, but it is a lot of fun. You know, every shot is it requires such great focus because the penalty can come up and bite you so quickly here. It's just a very penalizing golf course, but there are birdie holes out here.
You have the lead. You're the only man under par. 18 holes to go to win a U.S. Open. What do you think it's going to be like for you tomorrow with Hunter Mahan in that final group?
A lot of fun. Let's let's go. I can't wait to get back out playing. I feel really good ball striking. I feel good on the greens, and I think that it's going to take an under par round tomorrow.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Dan, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. The fans getting what they wanted, and that is Phil Mickelson with another chance at a U.S. Open. He'll have a one-shot lead as he heads to the final 18 tomorrow. Bob?
Well, Dan, as you know, only 3 of the last 8 U.S. Opens have been won with scores under par, and in this one, only one golfer, Phil Mickelson, starts the final round with a red number. So as this day and evening of golf concludes, whither the fortunes of America's 2 most prominent golfers? For Phil Mickelson, so close, so often, is this the year he finally breaks through and wins the national championship? After 54 holes, he has the lead. One thing we know for sure, a huge portion of the gallery will be behind him tomorrow, which happens to be his 43rd birthday. Meanwhile, Tiger Woods has 3 U.S. Opens, but his chances for a 4th, and that still elusive 15th major overall, are virtually non-existent. He carded 7 bogeys in this 3rd round, and after briefly getting within 3 shots of the lead, he'll now enter Sunday 10 shots back and left to look to the British Open for his next chance to move closer to Jack Nicklaus. As for us, our coverage of the 113th U.S. Open resumes from Merion Golf Club tomorrow at noon Eastern here on NBC. Coming up next, in some parts of the country, and you know where you are, we'll send you to local programming. For others, tonight's primetime lineup starts with Chicago Fire.